bringing this guy up. I'm going to make sure all my mic settings are similar on all these shots because that always seems to be the tricky thing as we're doing this thing. I don't need that. Look at that, an island. And this guy is the wrong camera, so let me just switch back to that. Hi, look at that. Dun-dun-dun. All right, I think we should be all right here. Hiya, folks. Hold on, let me pop out the chat. You know what I'm saying? All right, oh boy. Hey, Dana. Thanks, Julie. It's sort of, I was trying to put up something that lets you guys know I'm still here while if I need to, chase Camden around or anything like that when I'm doing that kind of stuff. So it seemed to function. Hold on. Hey, Amy, how are you? Let's see, popping that chat out so we know that that's good. Drag this down, we're all good. Now I'm just doing housekeeping. Mic's a little up my nose, apologize. It's a run and gun situation today because I'm hopping on a boat as soon as oh, what is that? Wire in the way. It's just so not classy. I apologize. Don't get sick. Don't throw up. All right. I'll close that dashboard. Go back to here so I can see what I'm doing. How you guys doing? All right. And then I'm going to use the YouTube chat mainly and then make sure this up here. In ancient Roman times, an expensive prostitute was known as a quid pro quo. Hey, Grace, what's happening? Good morning, everybody. Hello. There you are. Now I'm live and aware of where I am. And then I got to put up the comments so I can pop those in, and then we're ready to go. Going in just a minute. I'm going to have, I'll mention this on the show too, but Driftglass and Blue Gal from the Pro Left podcast are going to be guests today. I was on their show, and so I'm returning the favor, and that should be fun. They're going to come on in the 10 o'clock hour, so that'll be cool. All right. Where is it? There it is. Good God, man. Oh. Happy weekend to you as well, Courtney. Thank you. Excellent. Good morning, SoCal Susie Q. There you go. Excellent. Will Nerd Halen open for Crew? Yeah, when they get back together against their legal rights or whatever. Missed you since I can't see Stephanie Miller. Oh, I thought you said Stephen Miller for just 1 second, and I was horrified. But I understand that. Yes. Great, Al. Thanks for asking. I'm good. I'm filling in for a friend who had to ditch out on another gig on this week, so I am flying out right after the show today. And I'm going to be on a cruise all week, which is weird. Last time I was on a cruise, I filled in for Roseanne when she ditched out on a gig. And then the time before that was the Liberal podcast that cruise that we did for Air America, where I played basketball against
60 seconds.
Oh, thanks. Played basketball against Rachel Maddow and beat her. Thanks very much. Even though she's a foot taller than me. She's a big lady. Height-wise, as it were. I've almost shaken this cough. Cool. I'm not hearing. Oh, I guess we'll know if I hear sound in a minute. Let me know if I'm on.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Live exclusively for WCPT in Chicago, standing up and speaking out. Here's Hal Sparks.
Okay, you know how we heard there was a whistleblower, and then it was what does the whistleblower have? It's going on in the behind the scenes. Will it ever reach the surface? Will we hear about it? Will the whistleblower's complaint ever be released after this? The DOJ and the White House tried to argue that technically the president isn't under the intelligence committee, the intelligence community's guidelines, because he's a godman king person, and so therefore the whistleblower can't blow the whistle on the president because he's not in the chain of command of the air, so he doesn't have jurisdiction or something to say anything about the president. So is it going to come out? Will it? Can it? Is it? Should it even be allowed? And since that moment, we've been arguing. And thank you, Hal Vickery, right out of the gate for the super chat and a parting gift for the Fall Guys. We will get to them today. I'm a little sad that the Fall Guys aren't going to include Igor and Lev. They're going to probably be in a little sidecar. But the main ones being Mick Mulvaney and Rudy Giuliani and Sondland. Now, who's a lovely gentleman who the president barely knows, even though he got $1 million from him. When's the last time you got $1 million from somebody you barely know? When check that in your bank account and your social circle. Billy Hutchins, thank you as well for the Hal Sparks GOP wish list of conspiracy theory witnesses for defending Trump fund. They are cray-cray. This is true. And they've added Captain Cray-Cray. Everyone's favorite wrestling spotter, Jim Jordan, will be joining the open hearings next week because the president needs somebody to throw themselves on a grenade for him. Now, the whistleblower storyline started coming out, when people were like, "There's a whistleblower in the intelligence community. They heard something. They believe a crime was committed by the president. This is going to come out. Will it come out? Do they have the right to come out?" Then it comes out, and it regards this phone call where the president was engaged in extorting a foreign ally that's in a hot war with an adversary of ours, if not an enemy. And he was saying, hey, May 23rd, the DOD said you have cleared the corruption. Thank you, Ginger, for the sticker and the fist bump this morning. I need it because I'm running on fumes because I got a late night, early morning. Flew in this morning before the show from Vegas to LA to catch another plane after the show. Crazy. So in the process of it comes out, it's about this call. It turns out May 23rd, the DOD had cleared thank you, Prof 666 for the Where's Jared? Maybe he's not anonymous. Oh, maybe he's anonymous. Not that's another story too. Jackie Schechner and I talked about the anonymous book on the wonky donk. That episode will be coming out in the next couple days. So let me stay on track as best I can because it's hard to follow this nonsense. Okay, so we have this story that the whistleblower is happening. We find out that the president made this phone call to the new president of Ukraine, and that he extorted him. That he essentially said, hey, even though you have every legal right to get these funds, even though the DOD has cleared the level of corruption in your country, even though the Congress has ordered that money, I'm putting my thumb on it. I'm putting a hold on that check until you do us a favor, though. And that us was not America. That us was the Trump campaign. This is for personal gain, for the benefit of Donald Trump, the man, not the president, not the country. And what he wanted was a speech, to go on television and say, we're opening up, we're looking into corruption by the Bidens, say the word Burisma, even though there's no there. We just need the speech. And we also need you to mention CrowdStrike, and we're looking into that as well. We don't need for there to be a there. That's enough for our lapdogs at Fox and the Jim Jordans of the world to go and just make so much noise including Giuliani, all over the, Giuliani already had his printouts from Breitbart and whatnot, that he would go on. And we've got this media strategy where we'll take down Biden, and because he beats Trump in every swing state by the widest margin, even still with this. And in this, this is what we need you to do. And there's a quid and a pro and a quo here. The quid is the money. The pro is the action, the speech you will take, and the quo is when we actually see it. And Sondland, in these texts that went back and forth that we found out after the whistleblower report came out, when they released the memorandum of the transcript of the kind of conversation that Trump had with him, they were dumb enough. The White House was dumb enough to go in there and say, hey, Trump actually said in this phone call, I'm going to need you to do us a favor, though. And though is such the magic word. Need is very important in that. Favor certainly sounds bad. But even if he said, I'm going to want a favor from you, though, well, it still sounds mafia-like. But but America needs a favor from you. But America needs you to help America out. Maybe that would have been the one way you could have said it. And you certainly could have, paraphrased the president when he said, I'm going to need you to do us a favor, though, and said, oh, what he meant was America. So I'm going to need you to do America a favor, though, Mr. New President of Ukraine. I'm going to need you to look into my biggest political rival. I'm going to need you to make sure that, the Russians are let off the hook for what happened in 2016 so that I can remove the sanctions because they're not guilty. Some Ukrainian group with the DNC hacked the U.S. election systems and did a major psyop on all of our social media things and is continuing to do so. I'm going to need you to say this. I'm going to, and get Ukraine on the hook and Russia off the hook so we can lift these sanctions so Russian money can, through these oligarchs, can flow back into banks like the Bank of Cyprus and Deutsche Bank and into the pockets of my organization, but that I don't run, that my kids run, right? So lifting the sanctions either gets him out from under compromise that the Russians have on him, or it helps him get Russia off the hook so that they'll give him a favor later. This is, so this is the goal. This is what's said in the phone call. And Sondland was negotiating. Thank you, Lisa Moore. I do need the cup of coffee. Thank you. That's great. That's exactly right. Sondland, in these text messages that go back and forth before, by the way, he calls Trump after Bill Taylor says, taps the brakes really hard and goes, wait, this is crazy. Just like I said when we were talking, I'm not going to text something different than what I say. So it sounds like to me they asked Bill Taylor to say, hey man, when you're texting us, just go play along with the whole thing. And Bill Taylor went, F you. I'm not going to write that down, you stupid. Like I said on the phone, this is crazy. And there's a pause. And then Sondland of about 5.5 hours so that Sondland can talk to the president and go, he wrote it down. He wrote it down. He texted it to me. You mean in WhatsApp, Jared's favorite? Great. Can we, the little thing that makes a flushing sound when you get rid of all the text and the dirty pictures? And then he goes, no, Mr. President. Who is this, by the way? Sondland, I hear you're a good guy, but I've never really met you. Thanks for calling me this early. Tell him there's no quid pro quo. And basically the Sondland went, I think there's now a paper trail of quid pro quo. And Rudy Giuliani in our personal meetings and on the phone had said, hey, man, watch out for, stating the quid pro quo in writing. We'll take care of that verbally over here and on the phone there. And then after that, then he'll make the speech and it'll be water under the bridge. And by the time they come after us for this, like the last time, we'll already be back in office. We got to take a break. And when we come back, we pick up thank you, Natalie, waving right back at you. You guys in the stickers today. It's really fun. We're broadcasting at infotainmentwars.com, the Hal Sparks radio program, mega worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk, is also available as a podcast now on the Sexy Liberal Podcast Network. We'll be back after this break. That's right. Keep the stickers going. Thanks, Nat. Beg your pardon. My gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm tired, but I'll be all right. I'm going to make it. I'll make it through the show, I promise. But thud. Thank you so much, Jamie. Yeah, we cleared 10K last week right before the show. And I've been racking my brain all week for what the big 10K show is. So I think I'm going to I've started compiling stuff from the last 6 months of shows to do kind of like a video of thank you to me, giving shout outs and putting up clips of when I pop your guys' stuff up on the screen like this, let's see. Yeah. Hold on.
You're coming in really robotic again.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. I will check. Oh, I dropped out again. It was a change of shot is what did it. That happens. Did it do it during the show, or did it just do it during the break?
It was brief during the show, but during the break it was a lot more noticeable.
Okay. I will watch that's sometimes just an internet hit that just happens. So it shouldn't last too long, and I'll try and keep the visuals to a minimum as best I can. Let me see if this shot is a little better. Sometimes it's weird, but some shots are just, I don't know. Hey, Drift Glass, there you are. So I just sent you a DM.
Back in 60 Hal.
Drift Glass, I just sent you a DM with a couple questions and the email requests or whatever. So send me those and I'll be able to pack them in at the end of the hour. So yeah. Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like. Is God Almighty producing your show today? Yes. Oh, la, la. It's the lights. Yeah. I'm President Trump's new spiritual advisor, and where I am, God is. Okay. Yes. I can't do this too much, or my Botox will snap, and my face goes completely forward, and I look like one of those demons from Beetlejuice.
This is Doris Davenport, host of the Doris Davenport Show, all local, all the time. I'm on every Saturday morning from 10 to 11, right before Hal Sparks. Now let's get back to Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Yeah, indeed, let's. Doris is wonderful. I'm going to be making a visit on her show in the upcoming weeks, just kind of touching base with her at the end of the show and kind of rolling into my show for some fun. So that'll be fun to get everybody kind of a reverse lead in that regard, introduce you guys to her. She's terrific. So, it is hard to keep track of something so simple, largely because the lies being told by the Republicans are so goofy that it's the kind of stuff that Alex Jones would look at the paper written by an assistant and go, we're never going to be able to sell that. They would be better off arguing that lizard people are wearing the skins of Democrats and George Soros is the mission commander of V 2020. Because their argument that Ukraine wanted to scuttle the election, attack our election cycle, and divide the country so that Hillary would lose is just insanity. And if so, why would you attack them afterwards? And why would you cozy up to Trump? To Putin. I get them mixed up. Cozy up to Putin nonstop in this case. Like, it is bizarre. Okay, so we're going to get to the yes, we read the transcripts, Brad, absolutely, in a second in the chat room. So this is, by the way, we asked for transcripts, we got them. Be careful what you wish for. I don't know if it's some sort of Venus in retrograde or something like that, but apparently all spells called forth have come true. In this ridiculousness, because a couple weeks ago we were like, we want the transcript of the call. And Trump releases his memo, which incriminates him more than what the whistleblower had said. And their defense that, well, this was secondhand information. This isn't from anybody. They weren't on the call. This person is a spy leaking things that aren't even true. And again, I've said this a dozen times. You can't leak a lie. If anybody calls it a leak, it's true. End of conversation. If they go, this was a leak. They were leaking this. If they say it's a leak, it's true. Otherwise, they would just say, somebody in here is lying. That would be your first response. Thank you, Steve G, for the super chat, for the read the transcript that's not a transcript, but a memo that he didn't read either fund. No question. That is the issue with this whole thing. And I think, interestingly enough, much hay has been made about the fact that the president TiVos Fox News and watches it later. And when he's got a heavy schedule, he misses some of his favorite shows and gets kind of behind the eight ball as far as what's the newest stuff. And in the case of, there were people walking out of his rally last week and the week before because they were bored, because they heard all his 2016 nonsense before, and he was arguing points that even regular Fox News viewers know is water under the bridge that is no longer true. A couple of the points being, of course, that Trump is saying that Schiff put words in his mouth and lied into the record and made up a conversation that was a perfect call and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, hi, Magarza. And everyone knows that, and he goes, and then I released the transcript and they weren't expecting me to release the transcript. When Schiff paraphrased what Trump said and basically said, he's being like a gangster. He's like, you give me this, I'll give you that. He's characterizing what the president said for clarity, but at the same time, they were entering the actual memo / transcript that Trump had into the record. So 1,000 years from now, when they're looking back at this comical episode on Earth, and they go, did he really say that? No, he said this, and what that guy was saying was, he was like, it's like this. He was paraphrasing. He was making an analogy about the fact that this president was acting like a gangster, and he was framing the words as such to make it clearer that that's what he believed was going on, and to clarify that for people who didn't understand it as such, because they were withholding military and financial aid from a country that was physically under attack, from a country that had also tried to scuttle their democracy, had been behind Brexit and the rise of right-wing authoritarian white supremacists and fascist uprisings in several other democracies at their attempt to scuttle democracy. So that him reading it into the transcript, he made up a story. Shifty Schiff made up a story. He made up a conversation that was a perfect call. And everybody knows it was actually in there. Yeah. So, and thank you, Benny Loco, for saying happy Saturday to your fellow Americans at infotainmentwars.com. We have the documents, especially this week, because there's so many. We all asked for a transcript of that call that he made with Ukraine, and everybody's like, where's the transcript? We want to see the transcript. And then they released this phony baloney thing that still incriminated them. And then we find out there's also another transcript on a secret server called Nice. I guess because Sweet was out. They use it for Time Machine backups, and it's just too full. And the nice server, which has a lot of things on it, I'm sure, that are not very nice. That is classic DOD irony right there. Let's put a lot of gnarly stuff on a server called nice. And I can't. I'm so afraid of what the server called tenderness has on it. So, but everybody wants. We want the transcript. We want the real transcript of this, and we want the transcript. To compare that's on nice to compare to what the president put out. Even though the what the president put out has the incriminating words in it. It has the reference to a quid pro quo. It has the establishment of a quid pro quo, and it has the insistence on a quid pro quo. And it's extortion. He's extorting this country for personal gain to help him, the man, Donald Trump, in his presidential campaign against an opponent who is an American. He is fighting this person by trying to dirty them up in the media, not find real dirt, not uncover corruption. Because if you gave a crap about corruption, you wouldn't have 5 handshakes with Kim Jong-un. You wouldn't have secret conversations with Vladimir Putin where you destroy the notes. The idea that that Trump has a problem, all I care about is corruption. Yeah, well, that's a true statement. You're just not against it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like somebody thinking AIDS Walk is to promote more AIDS. That's Trump. That's the Trump reading of all I care about is corruption. I don't care about politics. I don't care about anything. Okay, right. If you cared about corruption in a way that you wanted to get rid of it, you wouldn't have gotten the biggest loans of your life from Deutsche Bank during a time when the software that detects suspicious transactions was curiously on the fritz when they were getting the majority of their money that they loaned out in hard currency from Russia, and it went out. So, okay. All right. Okay. So we asked for transcripts, and boy, did we get them. And if you haven't seen some of these, like Yovanovitch's stuff where she's just incensed, Sondland had to literally gave one, rolls in, gives this, no quid pro quo. There was no, and it's almost like he and his buddies, like, they made an agreement, like we all got our story straight. Thank you. Look at that, Magarza on Twitch. Thanks so much. That's really awesome. I didn't even know that was possible, but thank you. That's great. I love the little graphics that pop up in that or whatever. Benny Loco, thank you. Says, take America back from the dime store hoods. And that's exactly what this is. Like, these are the guys who used to hang around on the corner who wanted to be gangsters. Trump is only Trump because the New York real estate market is so gacked up with mafia and foreign money laundering and thievery that if they went after him hard, they'd have to go after everybody and it would unravel the whole sweater. So they just look the other way because it would cost them more than they would gain on his particular pieces of junk real estate that he owns. And by comparison, and I do mean that by comparison to the rest of Manhattan. So literally Trump dreamed of the apartment that Jeffrey Epstein had, who, by the way, was a $70 million apartment that he got for $1 or free, depending on who you ask. All right. So, there were, we got to take a break already. I'm plowing through this, and I haven't even gotten to the parts of the transcripts that I want to point out. So we will do that after the break. I'll be right back. In the next hour, from the Professional Left podcast, professionalleft.blogspot.com, if you want to check it out right there. I think there might be a quicker way. Is it professionalleft.com? Probably go straight there, maybe. Driftglass and Blue Gal will be with us, and we'll talk to them about all these things and many others, and their podcast, and the need for as many voices as we have or whatever. Also, during the break, go to vote.org. Make sure that you are registered to vote and set your plan for making sure that everybody you know is registered to vote. And that even pertains to the right-wingers and the trolls and the Republicans who are listening to me and grinding their teeth and hate everything I say. Do that too. Make sure you're registered to vote, because I want your vote to count too. I disagree with you, but I want you to have every right to express it politically in this democracy. Period. End of story. No question. That's it. We'll be back. It's the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. Thanks, Linda. I'm wearing a jacket because it's cold back here. It's California, and the garage is freezing where we've got the studio set up. And by the way, I bought sound pads, and they're all going up today. So this is the last time I think you'll see the mess ceiling or whatever. It's not even a garage anymore. It hasn't been a garage forever, but it still has it. I don't know how to do the super chat, so I mailed you. Thank you for the Hal Sparks President Rally. Thank you, Amy Wright. I appreciate that. The President Hal Sparks for President Rally. Is that what that's for? Yeah. It's a solid jacket. It's good. It's got plenty of pockets for traveling. That's the trick. One of those guys. Well, I may have voted in my final election in Mississippi. Why? Because you're moving, or because it's going to turn into a bizarre oligarchy? I keep waiting for the garage door to open. Well, yeah. Hal, do you have any thoughts on the identity of Anonymous? Yeah, actually. Jackie Schechner and I go into it a few times. And we also... Oops, that ditched down. I didn't like that at all. There was a dip in the... Okay. Excuse me. Jackie and I go into it in this episode of the Wonky Donk, which will be posted soon, and the video for that will be up on the Patreon page tomorrow. Are you guys liking that, by the way? Is that cool? That I was just like glad I could add a little extra stuff to the for you guys to get on the Patreon page. So it's snowing here. Hal, don't complain. Yeah, it's barren. No. Hit the $sign under the comment. Yes. Yeah. If you look down on the bottom of the chat or whatever, there's a little $sign. If you click on that, you can super chat, or you can get stickers or any of that kind of stuff or whatever. I didn't know if that was like, because sometimes even just like putting money into Google is a curiosity. I don't even, it's bizarre to me sometimes. I'm glad, Natalie. Thank you. Hal, why are the Republicans so in love with Trump? I don't know that they are. I think they fear a world without them in it, and he's their pit bull. I've heard a couple of them on Patreon. Good, Carl. That's cool. Love the Wonky Donk. Need the podcast too. Yeah, they just got it up on all the different services, I think. So you would make a good president, Hal. I agree.
Back in 60.
Thank you. I agree. I would make a fantastic president, and I will probably run one day, and people will laugh about it, and then I'll win. But that's we'll wait till I'm in my it's the decade after this one, when I'm in my 60s, then I'll do it. They're terrified of him and his cult. I've heard that, Angie, and I that one boggles my mind, because they don't. Oh, thanks, Fendi Loco. There you go. Oh, okay, cool. So the stickers are popping up. That's nice. All right, good. Yay, it works. Like this, see? That's right. So I think they're becoming less afraid of him, and that's his big fear. Why are the Democrats so in love with Joe Biden? I don't know that they are, Get Fizz. I think it's 22% of them, right?
This is Tom, and you're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT.
Connie Kelly in our chat says, is it true that Anonymous is the pen name for the entire White House staff? That might be the case. In the Wonky Donk, the podcast that I now have with the lovely and talented Jackie Schechner, who will be a future guest on this show as well, again, promoting that and getting out there. It's on the Sexy Liberal Podcast Network. Get it wherever you get your podcasts. On the Wonky Donk, she and I talk about the legal ramifications and the kind of the slippery slope fears and the legal ramifications and the possibility of loopholes and those kind of things when laws are established, or we have laws on the books that we never knew there was a loophole there until some scumbag rolls through town and decides, hey, you know what? They're just leaving this screen door open. Nobody cares. Let's just roll in there and steal everything. You're like, wait, we thought we were on the honor system, guys. All right, well, guess we got to have a law now, and that's where we are with Trump, right? So, and Benny Loco's like just totally playing gangster in our chat room right now. You totally read it right, Al Sparks. See? Yeah, you're a gangster, see? So, in the transcripts that have come out, they have just gotten increasingly horrifying for the Trump crowd, because the irony that right about the time, so when Trump wants the transcript read, what he thinks you should read is that little memo he put out, right? That little thing, he's like, yeah, read my transcript, the little memo of the call where I was dumb enough to incriminate myself. And right about the time he's really pushing that, because he's TiVoing the world, so he's behind on reality. Right about the time he's got a bunch of doofuses behind him wearing a read the transcript t-shirt they got for free in exchange for being able to stand on stage and wave like some sort of bizarre like frat picture that they're all going to regret later. The wearing a shirt that says read the transcript and him retweeting it over and over is a little stupid right now, considering the size and volume and number of transcripts that are coming out of the impeachment inquiry right now. So right about, if those T-shirts had been on everybody's chest the first week of September, maybe, just maybe, it might have been a good PR move. But right now, everybody who's wearing those read the transcript shirts, if you were going like, if you literally just entered this, you're working stiff, you got other fish to fry, you don't really have your mind on politics quite yet, you're waiting till the primary kind of shakes out, and gets down to 5 people on the Democratic side or what have you, before you really start paying attention, and that's a lot of people, and you're rolling into the middle of this, and you turn on the television set, and Trump has a bunch of people standing behind him wearing shirts that say, read the transcript, and you go Google transcript, what's going to come up is one of, 6 transcripts from people who worked in the Trump White House, including a dude who gave him $1 million to become the EU ambassador, who apparently he all of a sudden doesn't know. And a decorated Iraq vet and people who've served under Democrats and Republicans for ages doing their jobs with honor and dignity. And these people are being asked a lot of tough questions about what's going on, and they're transcribing the question and answer, and they're releasing the transcripts of those meetings before the impeachment inquiry in public next week, the public hearings, which now the Republicans are against. Before they're like, this is all being done in secret, and now this is all being done in public. like I don't get it. And so and then the president is still behind the news in terms of his ace in the hole in a lot of ways was probably Volker going, I didn't see it as illegal, his interpretation, but Volker was participating in it, and that might not be Volker protecting Trump. That is, I think, Volker protecting Volker, saying, you know what, I didn't perceive it as illegal because I didn't know that Rudy Giuliani was doing all this other stuff. I just thought we were asking for them to be, clear and open about going after, quote, corruption. I didn't know that they were so laser focusing on it on only things that helped Donald Trump. So Volker wasn't saying, I didn't view this as illegal what the president was doing because the president wasn't doing something illegal. He probably was in retrospect. I'm just saying that when I was making those texts, I wasn't breaking any laws. That's what Volker was doing. And then Sondland rolls back in and goes, actually, yeah, you know how I said there's no quid pro quo, and everybody after me has come in and gone, yeah, including the dude with all the medals on his chest. who didn't have bone spurs. Yeah, they all say there's a quid pro. Yeah, there was a quid pro quo. Yeah, there was a quid and a pro and a quo. It was several of them, actually. And turns out they tried this on the last Ukrainian president as well. They did the exact same thing, only that guy was more willing to play ball, but made him lose the election. And then Zelensky gets in there, and all of a sudden, his biggest backer financially and materially against the Russians in the past, as far as protecting Ukraine, the United States, is all of a sudden being all coy. It's and so saying read the transcripts. At this point, my initial response was, "We did you?" And I posted a picture of the fact that it says at the bottom of the first page, "This is not a transcript. This is not a verbatim transcript. This is a memorandum and does not reflect word for word what was said." And we found out this week that in Vindman's transcript, by the release of his transcript, that they had changed things and removed certain words, and he wanted those put back in because they didn't remove them from the memorandum that Trump was releasing. They were removing them from the transcript they were going to hide on the NICE server. So again, just like the Republicans were like, this is all being done in secret. And then as soon as they're doing it in public, this shouldn't be done in public. Trump literally said that. This shouldn't be done. They shouldn't be having public hearings. The same thing is going to be true of the transcript. It's read the transcript. And then watch it. In 2 weeks, they'll be behind him in t-shirts. Don't read the transcripts. These people are liars. It's all fake news. Only listen to Jim Jordan. Unless, of course, you're investigating sexual assault, and in which case, flip a coin, I suppose, whether you're going to listen to him. There is so many points where behind the scenes, the whistleblower thing is coming down the pike, and let's see, this was on Sondland's transcript, where he says, "I had a brief conversation with the White House counsel's office when the whistleblower's report came out mentioning my name, and the White House counsel's office reached me. I was in New York at the United Nations Transatlantic Dinner. I stepped out of the meeting to take the call." He was getting nervous about this, especially when Fiona Hill came in and talked about this, because on 266 he says, and she, Fiona Hill, was pretty upset about her role in the administration, about her supervisors, about the president. She was sort of shaking. She was pretty mad. She's usually pretty calm, collected, straightforward, but she was pretty emotional. Yeah, because she was working directly with a country that this dude was taking over, even though he was not meant to be the ambassador of Ukraine, because Ukraine is not in the EU. It's not in his jurisdiction. We're going to talk about, the whistleblower doesn't have jurisdiction over the president because he's not in the intelligence chain, and therefore his whistle can't be blown. Sondland is not in charge of Ukraine, but suddenly he was put in charge of Ukraine policy because of his coordination with Rudy Giuliani, and they're telling her, we're going to engage in this shadow situation behind there. Unless they do this, they're not getting aid. She's aware of them day-to-day needing aid. She's knowing that 35 soldiers died during this window of time. She knows the Russians are moving in. She knows they don't have the anti-tank weapons to keep them back. She knows Crimea's gone and they want more of this territory. Yeah, it's kind of emotional when people you have been advocating for and with for the benefit of the United States are dying. There were a bunch of U.S. service people who were pretty emotional about the fact that we left the Kurds to die. The fact that Sondland's saying she's emotional, what he doesn't understand is that what's wrong about that equation is that he's not. What's wrong about that equation is that he could care less what happens to Ukrainians fighting to keep Russia from physically taking their country by force and sock puppeting it by coming into their, going in through the government, working their way up through local corruption and seizing control of parts of it and trying to scuttle the economy to make people turn on their own government. which is, by the way, happening now in our country, happening in England under Brexit. This is the plan, folks. We got to take a break. It's a Hal Sparks radio program, mega worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Follow me at Hal Sparks on Twitter. You can watch the show right now on Facebook, Twitter, on YouTube, and Twitch as well. Hi, Twitch, folks. How are you? I swear I'm going to be gaming there again soon. I've just been so busy. I've been working. It's crazy. And yeah, but we'll be back right after this. His whistle can't be blown. Phrasing right. Thank you. I'm trying. Quid pro quo rather equals extortion and bribery. Absolutely. Yeah, the fact that he got booed, Sam Blamalam, the fact that he got booed at a UFC match is incredibly telling. Because that's like getting booed at a country music festival in terms of the Trump voter base or a NASCAR rally. Donut still singing? Do I still sing in 01? Yes, I do. They said that Joe had his hands full dealing with Bo. The Hunter stuff was mainly damaging because of appearances. Yeah, it was. I mean, all of that stuff. The irony that the Trump kids can't look at a business situation wherein the child of someone else got there legitimately or actually did it without putting it through the lens of their own experience. The Trump kids can't understand a world where you don't thieve and grift.
Back in 60.
Thank you. Thieve and grift all you can. They've never got, I mean, that quote from Donald Trump Jr. about, his, what was it? His dad, the Arlington Cemetery quote was friggin' disgusting. But on top of that, the idea that he was like, he's never gotten anything, Biden's never got anything but for his last name. Like Biden is the name you sell. Yeah. Whoops. We dropped for a second. Sorry. Yeah, like and subscribe to the show. Give us a thumbs up if you could. Really appreciate it. It helps us out immensely. If you're viewing us for the first time, welcome. Hello. Go to the YouTube page at infotainmentwars.com. Join the stream and subscribe to the channel. On.
This is Ron Calgo.
And this is Robbie Earhart.
And you're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
And that's right. And that's why you should subscribe on the YouTube channel to the show. Go to infotainmentwars.com. Do it. Do it. Come on, do it. Because in the next hour, we got robot-y for a second. It'll get better in a second. I feel it. I can feel it. I know it. Maybe. We'll see. Hope so. Yep, we're better now. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about the audio flub. That was weird. We're being attacked by the Russians. This is my own personal version of a Red Scare. So, beg your pardon. All right. Sorry, sir. Sorry to anybody who's got a spinning ball of death on their screen right now. This is just a natural part of the interstreamings of the world and the webs and the things and that. So this is the and I don't know if we're good Chicago sound wise. We're all right now. We're back.
Yes,
you
you sound good. No
Excellent.
robot right now. Thank
you. Appreciate that. I'll keep an eye on that. Not that I can do anything, and maybe psychically go, please don't die on us. So Sondland, when he made his initial testimony, he was saying he didn't know what Giuliani was doing over there. He goes on page 70 of his transcript, I became aware of his interest in Burisma sometime in the intervening period, but I never made the connection between Burisma and the Bidens until the very end. That is my testimony. I heard the word Burisma. I didn't understand that Biden and Burisma were connected. That's not actually intellectually possible for someone who's able to tie their own shoes. Because of what he was tweeting and what he was engaging in. Now, Sondland revised his testimony in the same way that Jared Kushner has changed his paperwork so that he's not exposed as a foreign agent repeatedly. But I recommend everybody, if you're going to do something over the next week and you got some time to kill, Fiona Hill's transcript is a good read to kind of catch you up on all this, and it has the kind of energy that most people, I guess, who listen to this show would appreciate. And if you want to understand the Trump point of view on this, Sondland isn't the guy Volker is, because he's the one who was kind of playing along and now is trying to protect himself, but is way smarter about it. He's the one who's capable of bar-like language in this. So that, there is a tremendous amount of criminal evidence just in these transcripts. So I would advise anyone, you can go to most sites, the Times, the Post, NPR, PBS, I think they're on some sort of government sites, they're on Scribd. All of these transcripts are available in a dozen different places. Here's what I would recommend. If you see Trump tweet, read the transcript again, which he will. Yeah. Pick one of those. Probably Volker's the one that would, if he actually cracked into it or people made him nervous, about it. Volker's one of his picks, gave him $1 million. Send him Volker's transcript. Just tweet him the link. Go, after you, sir. Or I did, and here it is. This is a good, you want to read a transcript? Here, I got your transcript right here. That kind of thing. See? There you go, Benny Loco. How about that? So I think, the read the transcript part is going to be the inversion, the same problem that they have had in terms of them saying, well, this is all being done in private. Oh, now this is all being done in public. This is hardly fair. So I would say, that in and of itself is going to be problematic for this White House over the next couple of weeks. Now, next week is going to be insane. I'm looking forward to talking to Driftglass and Blue Gal from the Pro Left podcast at the top of the next hour about their predictions for the next week. I'm giving them a warning that might come up because this is going to be crazy. Because, they put Jim Jordan on there basically to scuttle any genuine conversation. Jim Jordan will be on the committee and serve the exact same purpose he served in protecting the continuance of sexual assault against minors that happened under his watch. That's what he's been doing his whole career. That's what he does now. And that will not change over the course of the next several weeks. It is why he is being put on that. This in and of itself, watching them kind of dance around these folks and punch down especially at an Iraq vet if Vinland testifies again. If they end up getting Mulvaney is I believe he'll be more Lewandowski-esque in that he'll be dismissive and sort of forceful in what he says, but ultimately say nothing in an attempt to show off for the president. His problem, though, is that lawyers will be asking the questions for the Democrats largely, and in doing that, there will be multiple times where he will be in a position where he may incriminate himself. Mick Mulvaney, famously, who I guess you can't blame everything on him because ultimately the president's own transcript did the job. We really don't need much else. But Mulvaney going up and having that press conference where he's going, let me tell you something about a quid pro quo. We do it all the time, and politics are going to influence foreign relations. Get over it. That in and of itself, we do it all the time. They're going to sell that he meant we America, we as a country engage in our political desires in going back and forth with countries, and we do. We at least we did when we had principles. The United States, when we're giving aid and helping other countries, and when they're soliciting stuff from us, support, getting a White House visit, those kind of things. We do have standards, or we used to, where these people would be responsible for acting in a way that was in line with our values if they wanted that from us. In those terms of a quid pro quo, and in that context, specifically, Ukraine had satisfied that. On May 23rd, and I'll look this up for see if the DOD said that they had the committees on May 23rd released a report that Ukraine, quote, had made sufficient progress on weeding out the corruption that was there to warrant them receiving the funds. And Trump's on, this is, so there we go, the facts. Trump didn't raise corruption concerns in his July 25th call. That's true. He was talking about the readout. He made 2 requests that he'd look into CrowdStrike and Biden and Burisma, and he wanted that as a speech. Again, I don't think it's about the, according to the Post and everybody else, and the reality. This is just another example of the butter emails situation. The emails, the emails that will get you, that are illegal or whatever you're saying that they have, whether it's, sharing classified top secret information on a private server and it got hacked and got out because it wasn't properly safeguarded, or Pizzagate, whatever you want to, whatever your conspiracy theory is about Hillary Clinton, what's in those 30,000 emails, they were never found. They were never gotten. Nobody got them. The Russians didn't get them. Nobody. So you can just pretend what's in them forever. In the case of Biden, they've looked into this stuff over and over again, and there is no evidence of wrongdoing by Biden or his son. So, but we'll touch base on some of that with Driftglass and Blue Gal from Professional Left Podcast after the news. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Oh, I got robot-y, didn't I, for a second? Son of a dog doodle. Stupid internet. Yeah, I can see after the fact. Sorry, guys. I notice a couple of times. I'm like, so yeah, let me try this. Messages, there they are. Okay, excellent. And then I'm gonna do that one. There we go. There we go. Bringing them on. Hold on. The invite. Excellent. And then cool. And adding those. So, Driftglass, you and Fran are getting your invites to the feed right now. So, hop on and just click on the link, and you should be able to pick your microphone and all that kind of stuff and get in there, and we'll check audio before we go at the top of the hour, if that's cool. And make sure we're good. Blue Gal. There she is. Hold on. Trump will defect to Russia before he goes to jail. Well, that was Amos. That was the interesting thing, by the way. Let's see. I'm gonna roll back to that. There was this thing. Hey, look at that. There you are.
Hey.
What's happening? Hi. Okay, who's louder?
How about you?
You sound good. Fran, you're a little quieter.
You guys are both really robotic-y.
What? We're not.
You're kind of robotic.
I'm changing the page. I'm loading these people in. Give it a second.
I thought that was your natural voice. You're just acting the hell out of it the rest of the time.
Yeah, it's the Hal thing. There we go. Now we're better.
You and Hal on the same line, it looks like, to me. That's how it appears to me.
Yeah, you won't. Well, it on the page it shouldn't quite matter, but I'm going to turn you up a little bit on my end.
Hey, that's my job.
Yeah, you're good. Oh, I see. I said up, not on.
Oh, okay. All right. We're very open-minded, so.
Are you? Ew.
Ew.
So,
Stop being cringy. Save the cringy stuff for the air.
that's right. Save it for one more.
Privacy and exclusivity are our kink.
Yeah.
That's super. Well, I think it was Alan. Was it Alan Watts who said Christianity is the highest form of kink because nothing is kinkier than making sex dirty.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That was his thing. It sounds like he's in a canyon. Okay. Yeah, I think they'll sound a little bit better at some point. We're going to try. Oh, it's the internet's being weird again. It's taking a lot of stuff, and then it'll ease out. Now we're better. Okay, so I think once I go back to the regular page, we should be fine.
Sure.
But if it gets robotic, just soldier through. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's just nature of the internet sometimes. I think it's just local sound is the issue most of the time, you know?
Okay, we're both hardwired into our modem, and so we're not doing Wi-Fi. And
Yeah.
You're hardwired also, Driftless?
No.
Oh.
But the Wi-Fi signal here is plenty strong on them anyway. So.
Yeah, you guys are that it won't be on your end. It'll be in it going through the luckily you guys go straight to Chicago, and back and forth. It centers it hives around the middle.
Okay.
So sometimes if I sound robotic, that doesn't mean you will.
Okay.
Or vice versa. So we'll he needs everybody says you sound a little hollow to them. Driftglass, so you might want to eat your mic a little.
Up my mic, up it.
It's the volume's good. I think it's just being, are you talking to the wrong side of it? Is that what's happening? I'm just kidding.
No, it's flushed up against my mouth. So.
Lovely. All right. What did we say?
Just a hollow man.
Excellent. So we will do this in just a second.
This is airing live.
Oh yeah, it is. You're in the chat room, you swine. You know exactly what's going on. So we'll watch your tongue, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. But we're let me call this up. Yeah.
My level on my mic is 87.
Sounds lovely. Sounds
great.
Sounds like you'll tan and not burn. That's good.
Good. That's what we want.
That's right. So before we start the day. By the way, say hi to the chat room. You guys have been in there.
Hi, everybody. Love you.
How we hear an echo from everybody but you. Okay, that's interesting. All right, let me see if I can fix that. That might be on my end. An echo. There you go. Can you guys? Yeah.
And we're at proleftpod.com. That's
okay.
the easiest way to say it.
Back to you all in 60.
Great. What might be that your guys are going out to me some other way? We'll see. All right. Sibilance.
Get out your system now. Poopy head.
That's right.
Poopy head.
Right. Just say that instead. Let's see if we can. That won't do it. Okay. Mute. Can't do that. All right. We will. Is it a slapback echo or a full heart? Sounds terrible. Why is that? That's super weird because you guys sound
fine to me.
Yeah, you're fine.
Sounds great on here too.
Oh,
I know what it is. Huh? You're getting an echo too?
No, he sounds good here.
Yeah. I don't know what that is then. I will try to figure that part of it out.
screw the broadcast. Let's just chat.
How's that echo? Is the echo gone
Chat
now,
room
guys?
exclusivity also, right?
Alpha, beta, alpha,
We're
beta.
very loyal to the chat room.
Yeah, you have to be.
It's a good lunch, man. It really is a smart bunch of people.
I'm
your listeners.
We are so proud of the gang we've created. So, all right, I think I've solved it.
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I had people walk out of me before, man. I was being subservient.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you if the putrid sludge you're growling out.
All right, I think I may have solved it so that we don't have too much of a bounce back on you guys. But welcome to the show. First of all, I think this is our first time, maybe our second time only, having guests on. So it is an honor to bring on Driftglass and Blue Gal, who are on the Pro Left podcast, which they were lovely enough to have me on. Fran blogs and podcasts as Blue Gal, and Bill blogs and podcasts as Driftglass. On Twitter, they are Blue Gal and Mr. Electrico. Yes, Mr. Electrico, which needs that's a story. So I'm often curious, and this is a total sidecar, but in this situation, how you came up with your names.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you want me to go first, Driftglass? Do you want to go first?
Please. Mine's once upon a time. It'll take an hour, so you go first.
I think we both started blogging at about the same time. We're early adopters. We're those people who Gen X learned computers as part of our day jobs when the Y2K thing came along. And so then this blogging thing started up on Blogger, and we started using it because we were both writers. And Driftglass, I started blogging the day after Election Day 2004, and Driftglass started blogging a few months later. And I was living in Alabama, being married with children, and Blue Gal in a red state. That's what I was.
Right. Oh, gotcha.
And so Blue Gal, I just took that on, and I think Driftglass agrees with me.
You didn't have a podcast. You didn't have a podcast before with a guy named
Red.
There
were no podcasts.
Red Man
in 2004 or 5.
Yeah.
No, there was no such
there was
thing.
No YouTube in 2004. So.
Yeah.
No, there was no YouTube. There was no YouTube.
There was
Ustream.
And
in fact, I knew Barack Obama was a viable candidate for president well before the Iowa caucuses because he had workable, embeddable code of video of his Selma speech. And it was a miracle that I could put, little blogger me could put Barack Obama's video on my blog.
Oh yeah, that was,
you couldn't do, that was like, are you kidding me? How can I do this? And they gave us cut and paste workable code to paste a video on our blog. And I went, okay, he is top tier for me.
Yeah.
That's it.
They know what they're doing. They're ahead of the they're
investing in political activism at my level, and that means they're serious.
Yes, and a little known post historical presidential fact as well in terms of my prescience about the internet is I got halsparks.com in 1993. I've had halsparks.com since 1993, and I had to talk a friend of mine into getting her own name as a website early on, and she still has it. It's Marianne.com. And
oh wow!
Some of you may know her.
Okay.
Yada yada.
As Marianne Williamson. I spent a good time, basically being her daughter's Manny when I was young, running her lectures here in Los Angeles, and volunteering at Project Angel Food and AIDS Project Los Angeles, which she was on the board of and began, and But I remember very distinctly going, sometime in the future, I'm going to be able to put my acting VHS acting reel in the internet, and no one. You won't even have to have a copy of it. I'll send you a link. And everybody looked at me like I was saying,
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, we'll all be able to walk on the moon like normal because of lead boots. And like, it's like that kind of thing. So,
but then don't you find it frustrating, Hal, when all of a sudden MSNBC has a new podcast and this podcasting thing and this, you can get it on your phone and it's the newest, greatest thing.
Right.
And it's like, we've been here since 2010. We've
Right.
been here since 2008.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well,
we're Horton Hears a Who. We're down here in Whoville.
That's right.
Going,
Yes.
we are here. We are here. We are here.
Yeah,
That's right.
Nobody.
No.
And then suddenly it's the most popular thing in town.
That's right. Well,
Yeah.
I was on Ustream, then live stream for a while, and then back to Ustream, and then YouTube started doing it as well. And now I multi-stream using Restream.io to go everywhere at once, and then I do a post show just on YouTube because you have to build a camp somewhere. You can't just be all over the place. Okay, so that's where Blue Gal in a Red State. That's where that came from. What about
That's where that came from.
But and you're well branded. You've got that on. That's your Twitter and your thing. Driftglass, on the other hand, Bill, what Mr. Electrico and Nat, tell us the backstory of those real quick.
Well, Hal, once upon a time when I was just a young lad,
That's right.
way back in the olden days, I was an executive at the city of Chicago for a number of years, working really long hours, and I also was deeply interested in politics, and being deeply interested in politics in public would get you fired from that job. So I had to find a pseudonym. So I picked, Sam Delaney's Driftglass. Driftglass is just waste industrial glass has been pounded by the surf until it looks beautiful. And I thought,
until it looks like sand.
I'll do that.
That's pretentious. Sure.
But I was just a commenter at Steve Gilliard's, one of the early blogs, Steve Gilliard's news blog, the late, great Steve Gilliard. And he kept pulling my stuff out of the comment section and putting it up on the front page and saying, he finally said, dude, you have to have your own blog because we cannot keep doing this. So I started my own blog, and I would work, from like 7 in the morning until 10 at night.
Right.
Then come home to my empty house, Castle Driftglass, and blog until like 2 in the morning. And when Twitter came along, my sister urged me to join Twitter. And Driftglass was taken. And as a liberal, I respect private property rights. So we hunted around for something that was obscure and equally pretentious, and came up with a character from Ray Bradbury's story. So I did that, and it's been a cross-branding thing for a while.
Right.
So people sort of know me by both handles.
Right.
But that's been 14 going on 15 years ago. So we always say the liberal superpower is memory, and we really mean it because we really can go chapter and verse. No, this is what you said a year ago, and 5 years ago, and 10 years ago, and this is what we said. We warned you this was coming. We warned you this was going to happen.
Right.
Why do you have ex-Republicans who just dropped out of the party 5 minutes ago on your panel who were completely okay with all of this, right up until it all blew up? And why don't you have actual liberals who were right all along
I
on the
know.
same panels?
I was literally yesterday, I was so furious because I was literally, I think I was in the middle of using Gary Busey in a meme shot at Trump, tweeting at him, and I was like, I spent the night in a haunted house with Gary Busey. We have history. But I was thinking back to like Dr. Drew's, horrible rehab show and all that stuff, and how we have a tendency to go to people who wrecked everything before they've actually rebuilt anything yet.
Right.
Not 20 years after when they're like, hey, this is how I did it. But 2 weeks after they get out of rehab, or 2 weeks after the thing, and instead of going, we're going to bring on somebody who's never done this. How do you do that? How do you not fall for that? As a valuable thing. Doesn't mean you don't talk to people who've been through it, but you wait a little while until those people have shown that it's stuck, so that you know that their system worked. I remember a buddy of mine went to one of these EST kind of things, and
LifeSpring,
yeah, and he came out. He'd been gone for 5 days, and he came back, and he said, I was like, how was it? And he goes, it's life-changing, changed my life. And I'm like, how do you know? It's been a day. I don't believe you. and weeks later, he was back to being exactly who he was. And I wasn't crapping on him. I was hoping it took in some fronts. But the same thing I think is true of these like Republicans you see on. Now, I think there is value to some of the people who were quote unquote never Trumpers in that regard, or at least were like, this is an inserious waste of my time. I have these beliefs and they may be nuts, but by your standards, but at least I'm consistent with them. And I've always gone, no. Like I thought Reagan was kind of a joke. I respected other people in my party going along with it, but it was really because he had H.W. Bush backing him up that gave him solidity for me. I thought Bush 2 was an idiot, but Cheney was a serious person on certain issues and Halliburton contracts were a small price to pay because we'd just been attacked. Those kind of things. Like those people exist. That's fine. I would argue that's the David Jollies of the world. But the idea
and I would like to confess that the day after the election, when Donald Trump said, "I will do a good job," I prayed for him.
Yeah.
And I said, I hope the best I can hope for is that he takes Chris Christie's list of people to put in his cabinet and picks a bunch of
you're scraping the bottom of the barrel when that's your hope.
Lobbyist types and Cheney dead enders,
right?
But people who know how government works, and it's another Reagan. They guide this, celebrity through the next 4 years, and I will disagree with everything they do, but he doesn't wreck the country.
Right.
And that was the one day when I gave myself that much hope to say, please God, just let him hire professionals to run the White House for him. And we as a nation will suffer through this and get out of it in one piece. That lasted a day.
Right.
That lasted a day.
All use of the word pejorative, celebrity in the pejorative, I will put that aside on a personal level to say we have to take a break. But I agree with you, and that's effectively what Dave Chappelle said on SNL that got him in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But effectively, he was trying to say that, and we got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. You guys can stick through the break, correct? Is that good?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Awesome. So we're talking to Driftglass and Blue Gal from the Pro Left podcast. And you have to check it out. Go to professionalleft.blogspot.com.
It's proleftpod.com.
Oh, that's
the
easier.
easiest
Okay,
way to get
cool.
there.
I'm going
And
through the
our
real
show
link.
with you is still on our website. We keep our archives open. So if anyone is not getting enough Hal Sparks this weekend, they can get more Hal Sparks.
It's called A Conversation with Hal Sparks, which I think is the biggest bait into a bear trap. Yeah, right.
Smoking jackets with no pants.
That's right. Smoking pants. We'll be back after this. It's the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. So, awesome, guys, and thank you, Can't Stop Lying, for the promo and whatever the chat pop up thing on there has again on eCam has died. It only lasts an hour, and then they don't let me do it anymore or something. I don't know. So I'm not posting those things that are up on there. I'm not referencing what people are saying in the chat room because of that. So. And Maureen, thank you, but we don't have those kind of thoughts. We don't. That's not a good time. No, we don't.
I'm missing out in the chat room, so look, that's for the party.
Yeah, no, that one's no.
Oh, and Hal, we have to tell you, we took the cat to school because of you.
Aww.
Yeah, middle child got to take the cat to school, and he was a huge hit.
See,
so
that's right. No pun intended.
It worked out fine. It worked out fine. It's all because of Hal Sparks.
Years of careful parenting, but sure, there you go.
No, she gave you full credit at school too. She said, "I talked to Hal Sparks, and he said I should bring this cat in."
And they're like, "The who?" Right.
It was a huge success. Huge success.
Oh, great! For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, that gives you even more reason to go to the podcast and it's on iTunes as Professional Left, right?
Podcast, right?
Yeah.
Professional Left podcast. It's on there as iTunes. It's anywhere you get your podcast.
Yes, that's what everybody has to say, because like anybody gets them anywhere but iTunes and like one
exactly
nonsense. I mean, it's named after the iPod, for God's sake, people.
Right.
Like the idea again. We fall into that area where like PC people love to crap on Apple all the time, but nothing they like about their computer would exist but for Apple. Yeah. They were the R&D department.
The academic computing department at Columbia College for a few years, and it was half Mac and half PC, and it was a war all day, every day.
Yeah. Well, what year was this?
Late 90s.
Okay. All right. That was
Yeah.
well. That was that was a time when like the Amiga and those other computers were like like kind of had been moving in a direction of taking over the video world.
Yes. Right.
You know,
and the art world. Yeah.
And then Apple bought them up, and the next phase happened. You know, and they kind of got all that stuff and just planted a flag in all that. So. Yeah,
absolutely.
Act just said Amiga video toaster. That thing was a gift at that time.
Mm-hmm.
That thing was amazing.
Absolutely was.
That's what you'd have walked in, those two warring sides, like Apple PC, and you walk in, Amiga video toaster, like you're this weird flank of soldiers from another tribe appearing on a hill.
The Sun soft homage people who were completely athwart everybody else. They had their video room down the hall.
That's right. And Edward says, Apple would exist without Xerox. Yeah, I don't know.
Now let's get back with Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So have you guys? So we're back on, by the way, with the duo that gives us the Professional Left podcast, available wherever you get your podcastings. And Driftglass and Blue Gal, or on Twitter, Blue Gal and Mr._Electrico. You guys,
and can I do a shout out to your listeners, Hal? Since when you were on our podcast 10 days ago,
yes,
we got a little mini flood of people who had not heard of us before. And I tell you, if you've ever showed up at a holiday meal and there's all these cousins you knew existed but have never met before, and you all run to mom and dad's bedroom and jump on the bed together, that's what it was like.
Oh, that's great. Well,
it was just like family. So we love you guys. We love your listeners, and they are welcome in our house to jump on the bed anytime.
We have that's so sweet and sort of dirty based on the earlier conversation we had off the air, and I love it. And I have to I will pound my chest a little bit about my listeners, and especially the chat room. Both our mods and our regulars and our and Can't Stop Lying, who's our promo king, and all the folks that are and all the patrons, of course. I started trying to push this as a Patreon to help improve the show over time, and man, they all stepped up. And I can't tell you how reassuring it is, because and like you said, you guys have been in the liberal podcasting world for a good long while.
2010, 500 episodes.
That Soros money is a myth. There is no deep pocket from Tom Steyer's building a media empire to fight back against the vice grip that the right wing has on YouTube and the pod world, and certainly not AM radio. We were, the AM radio slaughter that happened after 2012. With Romney and Bain Capital deciding it's worth it for us to lose money if we can get the liberal talk off the air. And so they started buying up stations. Stephanie Miller is not on in San Francisco. She is not on in Los Angeles, two obviously strong markets. And instead, The Patriot, and nobody listens. They lose money all the time, which is illegal in a publicly traded company if you make a decision that you know will cause the company and the investors to lose money. But they view their tax breaks that they get through Trump and the Republicans and the like as that payment. So that's the profit angle on it. So that's their argument for keeping it on. And they went and scuttled the AM side and what little there was, because it was so impactful. That's the irony. It was so effective.
You can trace the origins of the modern Republican Party, not the Nixon Southern Strategy Party, but you can trace to dead on 1984. You can trace here's Reagan repeals the Fairness Doctrine. Months later, Rush Limbaugh is syndicated everywhere.
Right.
And from then on, it's Rush Limbaugh and Newt Gingrich defining the inside and the outside of the party, giving them the same voice. And that was pure. After the 94 election, there was an article in the New York Times where Rush Limbaugh was talking about don't cooperate with Democrats. The feminazis will kill you. But everyone in the party gave Rush Limbaugh credit for the 94 election. They called him the majority maker. They gave him a parade. And it should have been as clear as a bell. This was a quarter of a century ago, for God's sake. That was the power behind the Republican Party. And the deep pocket liberals did nothing about it but look with alarm. They waited for someone else to show up to stop this thing from happening. And we were out in the grassroots doing
Right.
what we could do. But nobody with deep pockets, no Mike Bloomberg money is coming our way.
Right. And I would say that the irony is that Limbaugh financially as a show has failed multiple times, but is kept afloat by the Heritage Foundation paying his salary basically,
Right,
and them reinforcing these, whenever the advertisers turn tail because he said something horrifying until they can hope the public forgets about it and fill in the gaps. Meanwhile, all of us over here on the left doing our decent work are just doing regular old-fashioned radio or podcasts with promotion as best we can, and the idea that there's this masterful Soros puppet master behind all of us funding this attack when, I think that has to do with truth. And that brings us to the coming week, because we've only got about 5 minutes before we take a break left with you guys. And by the way, what's the direct link? Professional Left
ProLeftPod.com.
ProLeftPod.com. ProLeftPod.com. I'll put that in the chat room as well.
Thank you.
And so everybody go there, like and subscribe to what they're doing, because and you can subscribe there and support them as well as a monthly gift via PayPal, where you can I don't even know how that works, but it's there.
We have Patreon, PayPal, we have everything over there. We have buttons for everything. Any way anyone wants to give us money is fine.
We got a post office box. Remember post office boxes? We have a PO box.
Oh
We
yeah,
have a PO box.
Oh, so do I. Yeah, and and Can't Stop Lying already beat us to it and put the link in, there, because great people, because we have great people.
Great people. I'm telling you, they're the cousins we never met before, and we just love them. Yep.
So over the course of this, obviously the Republicans are going to count on this. They're going to go after process and the character of some of the people whom moments ago. Like, I'm curious. I'm going to let you guys talk about this because I'll go off on it later. But the idea of they're going to throw the three Domingos under the bus, Mulvaney, Volker, Sondland, and Giuliani. What are your thoughts about how this is going to play out? What's your predictions?
Well, we've reached, because it's stupid Watergate. We've reached the stupid Haldeman, stupid Ehrlichman, stupid Dean moment.
Sure, right.
Watergate.
Yeah,
where I knew nothing. I was never there. I was a volunteer president. I was a coffee boy president. I don't know any of these guys.
Right.
Rudy Who, never heard of the man. And under the bus they go. And it's such an obvious. I'm hesitant about the word obvious, because it's obvious to anyone who is like higher brain functions.
Right.
But this is going to be a story of two different dramas. One is the hopefully well stage managed Democratic trial of a criminally treasonous lunatic who needs to be gotten out of office in an orderly fashion. And over on the other side, there's going to be the Marx Brothers. They're going to do everything they can possibly do to distract and throw things up in the air. And Hillary Clinton, you might recall, said, what does it matter?
Yes.
During her 11-hour testimony, right? If you look at any of the rest of that, she looks great. She's doing great.
Yes.
She's looking at these people like, I can't believe I have to answer these stupid questions from these idiots. But they found the one soundbite.
Yeah.
And they beat it to death.
Yeah.
And that's what they're hoping for. They're hoping for one soundbite that they can just harp on, that Tucker Carlson can wear on a placard for the next 3 months.
Right.
And that's all they're hoping for.
Yep.
And it's keep throwing shit in the air. Pardon my language. Oh my goodness.
Oops.
I apologize.
Look at that. It happens. Okay, if Nicole Wallace can do it, it can happen to the best of us.
They keep throwing festive carnival balloons in the air, they keep exploding, and they're hoping for one little piece of distraction that they can beat to death for the next 3 months. That's the plan.
Right. Well,
and I love how Hal said, they're going to attack the character when what we've got on the other side is Roger Stone, Rudy Giuliani, and Jim Jordan. I mean, they're going to try to attack the character of
Donald Trump.
People that,
I mean, honestly, like the man's charity was shut down because he was using it to pay his personal legal bills and buy artwork of himself to hang in his own properties, because his own properties are not profitable enough to buy big enough pieces of art to hang on the wall.
So he agreed to pay $2 million to make it go away.
Right.
Yes, $2 million.
And these are people, Don Jr., who will drive past Arlington and look at the headstones and first say, I like soldiers who don't die for their country. And secondly, My father has sacrificed more, and I have too personally, than
These-
any of these poor rubes who
These
died for their country.
headstones remind me of the sacrifices we've
Yes.
made. Like, just
Unbelievable.
I literally, I am a little gun shy occasionally about when stuff is posted online because it could be, faked or whatever. So there's occasionally where I'm like, that's too on the nose insane for anybody. Like, what the hell? And I'm like, and my tweet about it was like, I can't imagine having that thought, much less writing it down, showing it to someone, and then that person thinking that belongs in a book. Like, he told that to his ghostwriter, and the ghostwriter either said, you know what, I'm going to be famous in a couple of years because I'm going to do the same thing the dude who wrote Art of the Deal is going to do. He's going to go out and write a book about these idiots. So if he said it, I'm putting it down. And if he's dumb enough not to, to go, you know what, I stated that wrong. Let me rephrase, which he didn't do, which is, that was mind-blowing. That overwhelmed my thought process for a good long while because it was so egregiously horrible that you're like, then you remind, then you're like, you know what, I was a little bugged when they called him Uday and Kusei. Yeah, I was a little like, that's not quite fair, guys, because these guys ran like rape camps and that kind of stuff, and it's horrifying. And then you have that thought, and you're like, oh, but for being raised in a third world country.
Exactly.
That's the only line. Is that the rest of our society is what's keeping these guys from acting on an impulse that horrible? Because if you can think that,
and I would argue that some of the Mar-a-Lago parties that allegedly occurred, where getting women drunk and they're hot and all of that, and that's not one or two steps away from Uday and Kusei.
Oh, it's well, I would say it's a ginormous step, but only because of the country it's in,
the civilized
and the civil world around it,
power of women,
the lack of bomb crevices outside the building you're actually standing in. That's the only thing that levels it out. So
one thing we can be sure of is that Republicans, local Republicans, people who live around us, are not going to watch any of this because. My local Republicans, the people I'm in touch with on email or see every day or who hate me on Twitter, are obsessed with two things, flag burning and gender.
Right.
Because it's like, we need to talk about something else really fast. Why do you people want to burn flags? What's with all the flag burning? And I'm just like wow, you're that desperate.
Is it 1992? Who's burned a flag in a long time? Right. Like, the point was that covered by free speech? It is. Now burning one doesn't actually have any impact anymore. The point was, are we so free we can burn our own flag? Answer, yes, done. But what I hear more often is the kneeling storyline.
Yes.
And that's the modern equivalent, whatever, the taking a knee part of it. And whether that's an offense to the soldiers when he had actually talked to a soldier friend of his and said, hey, what's a symbol I can make that I don't want to turn my back on the flag? And the soldier was saying sometimes taking a knee is your indication that you can, and in football it means you can go no further. It means it's what happens when you grab, you catch the kickoff, you instead of charging into the fray, I'm not going to fight you guys and punch my way through, but I can go no further.
And you've heard about the kid who painted a blue line on the flag to honor police officers. Have you heard about that?
The blue line flag
isn't new.
The
Republican governor said, look, a child made this. How dare you get upset about defacing the flag when a child made this to support his top dad? And I said, yeah, if my kid made one to support the squad...
Yeah.
If there was a bricks all day long about
can you imagine a rainbow line through the middle of the flag? Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that will be for our next visit. We'll talk about the emotional breakdown of what they prioritize versus what reality is. The fact that, pro-life versus death penalty, like that in and of itself is an entire conversation of how that fits in a person's brain. But you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for being on the show today. We got to take a break. I rode completely through the break, but we're going to take one late anyways. But I wanted to have you guys on. And if you guys haven't had a chance, check out the podcast, the Professional Left Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and follow Mr._Electrico and Blue Gal on Twitter, and subscribe, become a patron
We'll
to theirs
follow
if you can
back,
help. Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. And thanks. By the way, to all the Patreon people on my side for making this possible. So thank you guys for because it's
Thank
this.
you.
This is the software that you guys made happen so that we could do this. So ta-da! I'm just saying it's working. So thank you guys. We'll be back after this. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega
Thank
Worldwide.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Give us a second. We'll roll that. Yeah, guys. So thanks so much.
You're
Super
very
great.
welcome. Thank
Our
you.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Yeah, we'll do it again. We'll do it again.
All right.
I like maybe in a couple weeks after this, the vote, or after they've come down one way or another. Because
Drift Glass is in the chat room every Saturday, so you can just let him know when you've got a hole in your schedule.
Totally,
and we'll make it happen.
Well, the madness dies down. So
yeah.
let's say 2027.
Well, I just think personally it's that Pelosi knew she had the votes based on the evidence they had. Everybody looked at that transcript phony memo thing he put out, went, that's enough. That's the crime. That's it. Right? And
you ordered the code red? Yes, I did. I absolutely did. And here's my pants.
That's
my
right.
Pants are off now.
That's right. And so in that situation, she went to the Democrats, and they basically all went, "Look, we're good. There's a plurality of us. We are all on board to vote for impeachment. Whether the Senate leaves him out, we can say the Senate only didn't knock him out and found him innocent because they're Republicans. We can use that going into the election. We don't have to worry about the backlash part of that storyline anymore, because this is enough for us. So proceed, go ahead, because we've all looked at the evidence. He did it right out in the open, and we have this transcript, and we have these these texts.
And that was before he did it on the driveway of the White House, because then he did it again on the driveway of the White House.
Exactly.
Well, she can count votes, and she knew she had enough votes to give away a few if a couple of tight
if they needed
to vote president or whatever. She's extraordinarily good at that. She knows how to keep her caucus together and count votes. And once she had enough ammunition loaded in the cannon,
she's like, roll. I need whatever 217 or 218. Yeah, I've got 220 who will vote for us. Let's start with the proceedings, because it's not like he's going to get less guilty over the course of getting this information. Like that's what it is.
He's not going to continue
to
commit crimes on television.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our goal is to allow the other three or whatever that are on the fence, and the two in a mosh to whatever, to come out and say, this is enough. This is this is real. And I was convinced by the hearings, even though I was on the fence before. And the only reason they wanted the pre-vote before those closed door things was so they could look at the vote count and go, everybody who voted for it voted to impeach. They already made up their mind. So anyways, okay, I got to let you guys go.
All right,
thanks so much. You're fantastic. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you next time. Cool. I'm going to sneeze. Oh my God. Thanks. Mercy. That was a big one. Maureen says she has no choice. No, she had a choice. She just could have made a bad choice early, I think, is the idea. Yeah. The thin blue veil of racism.
Radon. This public service announcement is brought to you by the EPA, who does not endorse this particular builder or any other commercial enterprise.
Now, let's see. All right, I think we're back. I'm pretty sure we're back. Welcome back to the show. So it was great having Drift Glass and Blue Gal on. Check out their podcast. There is a very limited outlet in this world for liberal talk radio and for liberal podcasts and the like. And they need all the help folks can give them. And there is a vehement adherence on behalf of a lot of right-wingers to making sure that they don't miss the YouTube videos of their favorite talkers or the radio show. They are dedicated. Not as dedicated as my chat room, because you guys rule. But but there, it is an ice skate uphill to get those ears and eyes, and because there is no kind of behind the scenes funding the way the right has. It just isn't. And the reason that they clamor about that and say that, why the right wing often will say that that people are getting Soros money and all this kind of stuff, is to cover for the fact when you find out that the Heritage Club or Foundation is financing a bunch of this stuff, or these dark money backers, or the NRA is actually backed by Russian money. And so that's how they got to have NRA TV. So the NRA TV existed because of Russian money. And the minute that money dried up, there goes the channel, right? Meanwhile, yours truly has been soldiering on for free for somewhere in the order of 10 years now, because I view this as a public service, damn it. And thanks to our Patreon subscribers, we have been able to grow the reach of the show and the technological elements of the show. Thanks, Rob Glenn, and everybody else in the chat. And thank you to all you folks. And they get they get stuff. They get to see the video version of the Wonky Dunk podcast, and nobody else gets to see that. They get to see. They get little meetups and free comedy shows, both digitally on there and in person. But also the main reason that we have the Patreon supporters we have is because they care about the show and the message, and they know it doesn't happen otherwise. And we don't have Tom Steyer dumping money on the Sexy Liberal Podcast Network to help it get off the ground. It doesn't exist. We're scrapping it together like we just left college, like everybody does. So I check out the Sexy Liberal Podcast Network, if you would, is my short message. And then come on here and subscribe to the thing. We cleared our 10K mark. We're going to be celebrating over the next couple of months with a couple extra videos and stuff just for you guys. Give us a thumbs up on the video today. Share it if you would. And we will continue every week to bring you reality and sanity with a little bit of humor as best I can, and the occasional hair metal distraction when Johnny's on the show with us. I'm going to go back to the chat room and ask and see what they're talking about as well. And I apologize. Let's see. There's all these narcissistic billionaires that want to run vanity presidential campaigns should use their money to register voters. Some of them do. Some of their outreach, because they have to gin up voters from scratch, does the exact same thing. So, sorry, I think I dropped for a second, but I'm back now. I don't automatically hate on somebody who's got money or accomplished stuff for running. I don't. That's not enough for me to hate. I don't hate Bloomberg. I don't hate Tom Steyer in the abstract just because they have money and they decided that public service at some point was one of their ways to help themselves. I think we cannot allow Donald Trump to force us to see everyone else of means through the window that he is. In the same way that I think a lot of people attacked Obama through the lens that they saw George H.W. Bush. George W. Bush. That, there was a tendency after the Bush presidency where the word president was such a bad word because of how it had been used that you almost kind of people were knee-jerk negative towards Obama before he even got started, even if especially on the left for a time. Now everybody pats themselves on the back for, I was always behind him. Yeah. And many of those are the same people who are like throwing tremendous shade on Nancy Pelosi and now are completely on board with Yas Girl with her. So, and see, if you're thinking of Bloomberg, pay attention to the New Yorkers who told you how bad Trump was now and are telling you how bad Bloomberg will be. That's L.A. Suzy Q saying that. I have not heard people say anything similar to what they were saying about Trump in terms of Bloomberg. I've had people talk about they had issues with him as a mayor and his policies, which is a fine argument to have. The stuff about Trump wasn't even about that. The stuff about Trump was all, he's a fraud. He's not actually a billionaire. He's a con artist. He's a clown. He's a game show host. And as a former game show host, I take umbrage with this. Excuse me. But yeah, so that there are obviously issues with Bloomberg as a candidate. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But the idea that somehow he should be derided immediately because of his money isn't the reason. And it unfortunately it sounds just kind of ultimately dismissive, just like when Trump says, I like poor people running. I don't want poor people, running the monetary system or whatever. Like he wants rich guys in charge of the economy is his theory, as if somebody who started poor and brought themselves up, as opposed to like a daddy's boy, second generation rich kid, like he knows anything about it. There are people who struggle who know, here's the issues that have happened to people who struggle, who and professors and instructors who chose to educate about a specific area, not because they wanted the money from it, but because they thought a better legacy for themselves was an educated populace who knows something about finance in an ethical way, for example. So, that there's a reason why you would put somebody on the Fed or in charge of monetary policy who's a professor of economics, for example, who never had $1 million in their life, because that wasn't their focus. They know how to make one. If they wanted to fall into it, they probably could play all the games and cheat and do all the shenanigans, because they're aware of them, that Trump and his clan have always done. But they might know just how to manage an economy in a way that's healthy and beneficial to everyone involved, God forbid, right? So there you go. That's that. I'm not in the business of castigating anybody for their station in life, unless how they got there is the question. And I do not fall into the no good billionaires kind of concept or whatever. As if that automatically means no bad poor people or something. Like, it's just ridiculous. Humans are humans. If somebody is has no money or a ton of money, and their policies and their ethics are in line with what I think has value, I will listen to them. That's it. That is the baseline. So there you go. Let's see. So check there you go. Check out the Sexy Liberal podcast. Thank you, Can't Stop Lying, for putting that in there. Yes, sexyliberal.com. You can find all the Sexy Liberal podcasts there as well. We're a little late into this break too. I'm going to take another break. I don't know if we have any callers. I don't know if I've even thought to try.
Not really working.
Nope. Yeah. So I knew they weren't. We're having issues. So okay, cool, nice. I'm glad to write it out. So we'll take a break right now, and I'll be back right after this.
So, Hal, are you able to even hear any music right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear it all.
Okay, as our last break, you said you weren't sure if you were back. I'm like, is he hearing everything? Or
Only on that one was sometimes you play a voice saying you're welcome back, and sometimes not. And on a couple of the pieces of music, I always feel like maybe I jumped in too early, and you were like, oh, I was going to play Tom Hartman saying, whatever, but he's already talking, so I won't, or whatever. Like that's so I think we kind of step on you sometimes. So but I check in case I'm about to talk through it. So because I'm not there looking at you when it happens is the only thing. That's one of these days I'll set up cameras in there and spy on you the entire time, watch you push buttons.
That's somewhat terrifying, but yeah, you're all good, Hal.
Oh, that's you're assuming I don't already.
What color's my shirt then?
What shirt? Ha! It was a trick question. Put something on, for God's sake, man.
It's just me right now. I don't need to.
You didn't know Johnny wasn't going to be in today. Yeah. Wow, the end is near. Should I carry a sign? Who says the end is near? Tom? Yeah. funny that Trump thinks we won't be able to beat him in 2020. I think he knows we will beat him and is scared and is trying to cover up what he's done. I would agree, Amy. Yes. Thanks, everybody. Give a thumbs up to the show right now, if you could, right now. Just right down there. If you haven't already, just click the thumbs up. Give us that. There's a bunch of people in here watching. How are you? Yeah. Good stuff. And, yeah.
Coming back to you in 60.
Cool. Did you guys in the chat see the Fiona Hill, like the readings of her stuff? Because, oh my God. Coming back in just a second. Give me 1 second.
Welcome back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. It's now time for the happy ending. Yay!
And thank you guys in the chat room. Give us a thumbs up. Go to infotainmentwars.com and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've cleared 10K thanks to you guys. And let's see, Amy, thank you for asking. I will talk about that in the post show. We always do a post show afterwards for those of you that want to join us on the YouTube channel. And of course, there's the Twitch channel and Periscope on Twitter, and of course the Facebook page wherever you guys are watching. Afterwards, we only do it on the YouTube channel. So if you want to hang out with us there, that's where we do it. This week, I don't think anybody was genuinely surprised the attacks on Vindman, because Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, he got a Purple Heart in Iraq, I believe it was, in Afghanistan. He was in Iraq, wounded by an IED, and he wore his uniform to testify, which I think was honorable and smart. But that did not stop them from attacking them, because this is the same party, by the way, that for anybody who thinks that the way they're behaving around Trump is brand new of the Republican Party, understand this is the same party that was wearing Purple Heart Band-Aids to mock John Kerry during his presidential run. That it was wounded in a firefight. By the way, the party that brings you Donald John Bone Spurs Trump and where were you in the National Guard George W. Bush and 5 deferments Dick Cheney, who shot his own friend in the face. These guys, are after the left because we don't support the troops. Because at that time, a lot of us just didn't want them to go fight in a country that hadn't attacked us and die. It was that simple. But that was us not supporting by not supporting the war. By not supporting the war, you weren't supporting the troops. Meanwhile, back home, these guys are mocking veterans with intense regularity. While, by the way, shoving other veterans in front of themselves on Fox News and using them as human shields to pretend that they honor the troops. So if the vet is on their side, shove them right out front, hide behind them, and go, look what we got one. And then if they, God forbid, disagree with the policies, personalities, or ethics or lack thereof of the Trump White House, not even the Republican Party anymore, because what's that? What is a Republican anymore? A fiscal conservative? This is the biggest deficit in history. It's double what it was at the end of the Obama years, and Obama had righted the country. They had a huge spending bill that they needed to keep the economy from slipping into a depression. So Vindman and Hill were both gave devastating testimony around the what was going on, the behind the scenes of the quid pro quo, of the extortion racket that Giuliani was running for the president. Now, also, Giuliani's tweet this week, if we didn't have the transcript, for example, if we didn't have that one piece where Trump had said, I'm going to need you to do us a favor, though. If that hadn't come out, Giuliani's tweet by itself, that he was acting solely as a lawyer for his defendant in all the things he did for the, in Ukraine, including those things that he supposedly said were at the direction of the State Department, is enough of an assertion of criminal activity by itself. This is what Giuliani tweeted out. The investigation I conducted concerning 2016 Ukrainian collusion and corruption was done solely, very important, solely, as a defense attorney to defend my client against false charges. By the way, the president wasn't being charged. So, I don't know what, publicity charges? Legacy? Charges against his legacy? Is that what it is? That kept changing as one after the other were disproven. So, I don't know which ones were. I mean, that last sentence is gibberish. I don't know what he's talking about, and neither does he. And that's one of those things like they were all fake. So once I attacked them, they just went away. No, they didn't. They all. I mean, and that's crazy. Well, and EO in our chat room is saying, by the way, does Rudolph not remember attorney-client privilege? Well, this is his description of what he did as a lawyer for the president. The problem with this is that I'm going to need you to do us a favor, though. The only protection the president may have had is that if he was asserting after the fact that he meant America for the benefit of the country, putting country first, and I'm worried about collusion and our money and all that stuff. The only way that's true is if Giuliani was working as a liaison from the State Department for the benefit of the United States. But Giuliani comes out and says, no. I was doing all this stuff to benefit my client against false charges. Well, why would you need, if he's not criminally being charged with any of those things, which he wasn't, especially when the indictment didn't come out, when they knew Barr wasn't going to indict the president, he'd already said so. This was after his little summation. Why do you need to fight back against those, quote, false charges? Well, for politics, of course. The reason he needed to go over there and get them to look into this stuff and give us, and not even look into it, give a speech saying they were looking into it, was done solely for the benefit of his client, where he was acting as a defense attorney to defend him against, quote, false charges. That's it. There is no. This is going to be a nutty week. I can't wait to talk to you guys. I'm going to be doing the show from a boat or maybe Puerto Rico. We'll see. Depends on when we land and what kind of internet I can get. But I love you guys in the chat room. Driftglass and Blue Gal are absolutely right about you. We have the greatest chat room and listeners in the world. I mean that with all my heart. I miss you guys when I can't do a show, and I look forward to talking to you guys over the week. I will see you guys next week. Follow me on Twitter for a more sweary version of this, and we'll see you next time. Stick around for Dick K for the angle on local Chicago politics. We need him. We need Dick where he is. We need him. We'll be back next week. We'll see you. Don't forget, Sexy Liberal Podcast Network. We're on there now. Wonky don't subscribe.
Next week.
Thanks. Yay. All right, I'm going to sign off with Chicago. There you go. Thanks so much. There we go. And ta-da. and it's just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us, you and I. Hi there, chat room. I hear the I will be on a Royal Caribbean cruise line thing. Yes, we are post-showing for sure, but we are only doing it on the YouTube. So I will say to all you folks on the other channels, Facebook, thank you so much. We'll see you guys later. Thanks, Periscope, Twitch. You guys are lovely. I miss playing games in front of you. I'm still trying to figure out how to put the PSVR on there and show that somehow, because that, I think, has got to be the thing. I've been playing 0 Hour and Farpoint and the Creed game on there, VR, and it's I just have to put a camera on me and show how stupid I look with the thing on punching the air. That in and of itself is just, like, I'll just play yakety sax and speed up the video of me playing. It has to. So, but thank you, Twitch folks. Come on over to YouTube if you want to hang out for the post show. We got 278 people in here. Are you guys thumbing the likes up? Are you giving me a thumbs up? Are you liking the show? Are you doing that? Are you giving us a thumbs down? Give us a thumbs down if for some reason, you want to show us. Hal broke 5. I broke 10K subs on YouTube last week. What do you mean broke 5K? Oh, you did, Edward. Oh, gotcha. That's awesome. Fantastic. Well, let's collab, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to do to have success on these? Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. I didn't authorize any boat trips. That's right. Sorry, my liege. How do you have Horizon Zero Dawn? Is that maybe that's the game I'm talking about? I think so. Yeah. 10,000 subs is my favorite porn series. Knock it off. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate that. Hey, Siren. How are you? Susie S., my happy endings are the big wins in Kentucky and Virginia. Absolutely. Man, that was something. Jude, I'm sorry you've been sick. Heal well. Hello there, Hal. We are likes up. Well, thank you for liking me up, John. Yeah. And yes, there we go. Oh, thanks. We got a new patron. Thank you, Jen Becky Davis. Look at that. That's I like that graphic. That's sweet. That's super fun. We're trying to get 500 patrons. That'll ultimately give us the entire nut we would need for a full-blown show with producer and all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm shooting for. So, and Carl's asking, so who's anonymous, and will they ever write a book about that eponymous? Look it up. It's supposed to be a PS4 master. Okay, I will. My theory about anonymous is that it's one of the support staff around one of the main people. Maybe somebody who was on Bolton's staff and, was in on all that stuff. It's one of those people. But at this point, they're giving everybody a massive, everybody's suspicious. These guys are, Rocky Mountain Mike says anonymous is the unknown comic. It's Murray Langstrom after all this. Just bag on his head. Why is that guy with a bag on his head in my Oval Office? It's terrible. Thank you. Thanks for the subscription. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Anonymous is useless unless he or she goes public. We debated about this on the Wonky Donk, and I'm curious what you guys will think of it. So when that episode posts on Monday, I want you guys to, 119 patrons, 2 more added, right on. Some people came and went. We were down to 114 because some people did like a lifetime thing where they come in and they just put in a lump sum and they don't do it monthly, which is great, and that's very welcome, and thank you so much for that. And so they didn't show up in kind of the thing for a while, and it was hard to figure out where to send stuff and all that. Hal, agree. It was someone who was associated with someone who's in the room, but now the people in the room have come forward anyway, so the so-called whistleblower is a moot point. Well, the whistleblower, yes. Whistleblower is a different zone. The idea is the whistleblower initially is I think is also somebody who they just did a normal report, and that coming out as a whistleblower later on would distract from the actual circumstance, and make it about them and not about the thing. Like, there's 100 reasons. I mean, in their own physical safety, that kind of stuff. But the anonymous person wrote that op-ed, said, I'm part of the resistance inside there. And I have my own theories about, I don't think it's somebody we know. It's like, who killed Epstein? I think it's not one of the famous names. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah. Let's see, divided up. Death Stranding with Norman Darrell Reedus, and it will win Game of the Year. Richard Custer, I will take your word on that, because I saw it the other day and I was like, I don't have time to dive into this because I'm playing Modern Warfare right now, and it's really fun. So, the Ghost of Richard Nixon wrote it. I set up tapes. I've recorded everything. I call the code name Checkers. Hal, do you have any new music out soon? I do, and I can't talk about it until 2 weeks from now. How's Camden doing? Did he have a great Halloween? Yes, he did. He was lovely. Yes, Jeffrey Epstein is still dead. Well, is he though? So, yeah. If Trump finds out who he is, he will be infamous instantly. Exactly. And the thing is, they'll make it about him or whatever, like they made it about the dossier. These guys are like a low-level crook with a body in the trunk and a bag full of cash and cocaine in the back seat, who's driving around with a busted taillight and a muffler that's smoking, gets pulled over by a traffic cop. The cop thinks they're acting hinky, hears thumping because the second body in the trunk isn't 100% dead, so he makes him open the trunk, discovers the drugs, discovers the body, arrests the person, and then they want all of it thrown out because the taillight wasn't probable cause. You're like, guys. And in this case, it's not even, I guess I'm being too easy on them because it wasn't a taillight. The cop heard a gunshot, saw a car speed away, heard them talking about a dead body, and then pulled them over. And they went, well, he didn't actually see the murder. Do you think Epstein was killed by Trump or the Russians? I picked Trump. I think neither. I think there's some other billionaire that he was blackmailing. Because, I mean, the Epstein thing is, and this is all conspiracy theory, and I have no base on this is just my own kind of personal radar about stuff like that, is that the overt people are hoping it goes away and are breathing a sigh of relief that he's dead or disappeared. And, like somebody posted on the day he died, like, rip the poor homeless guy who was unlucky enough to look like Jeffrey Epstein. But in my way of thinking, if somebody did him in and they and the coroner now says homicide, it was somebody he was monkeying around with that he was blackmailing for years with pictures and all kinds of other stuff. And when he got thrown in jail, they went to, they sent in a team to his apartment or wherever he hid his stuff, the island where there was a fire. They got all of the stuff that they thought he had on them, burned a bunch of hard drives, fried a bunch of electronics, and then send somebody to knock him off. And we'll never know who that person is because they're one of the, we only know the billionaires who make the stuff we use. Yeah, Epstein was killed by Hillary's missing emails. He was suffocated by a pile of them. Somebody printed them all out. So yeah. Check out our guest friends. There you go. Thanks, Can't Stop Lying, for posting that. Yeah. ProLeftPodcast.com. There it is. Can't Stop Lying's the man. He's my new PR agent. We got to figure out how to make that happen. Steel Team 6, right? Yeah, so I think if it turns out he was done in by somebody we've never necessarily heard of. You know what I mean? We only know Trump's billions because he won't shut up about them, and they're probably fake. We only know Bloomberg's a billionaire because we've heard about how he's a billionaire mayor and all that kind of stuff. We only know about Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs of the world and those kind of billionaires because we use the stuff that they sell and the occasional, and Walmart and whatever, That's a drop of the billionaires in the world. American billionaires are probably the fewest, are the smallest group. The richest man in the world at last standing, I don't know if it's changed anytime soon. Last time I looked, was a Mexican telecom dude. I mean, they're like, yeah. I mean, we'd have to hunt down the, let's see, the newest thing on that. Can't stop, won't stop. That's right. Yeah, so Carlos Slim is the richest guy in the world. He's, yeah. Let's see, maybe it was the president. Was fortunate. 74 billion, whatever, by himself. He's a Mexican telecom billionaire. Zuckerberg's second. Larry Ellison is third. Armancio Ortega is again the fourth. And he's a Spanish billionaire. And yeah. So he's in Spain. And he's a retailer. He's the wealthiest retailer in the world. I don't know who the wealthiest tailor is, but he's second. If you need something retailed, he'll put more tails on it. Warren Buffett, of course, fifth. Bernard Arnault. Who is Bernard Arnault? Who is he? Bernard Arnault is worth 94.7 billion. Oh, no, it's the other way around. I see. I was reading from the bottom up. No? Yeah. It's the other way around. So, Bernard Arnault, he's a very French fellow, I suppose. He's in Europe. Yes, he's the richest person in Europe. He's got 96.5 billion. He's a billionaire business magnate and art collector, which you have to be if you're that rich. Like, what do you mean art? He has people. He likes, it's those kind of art collectors always scare me because, if you collect paintings, that's one thing. But what if the art that they like is ballet? I collect ballet dancers. I keep them in glass. I pay them a stipend, and they stand in the middle. Bill Gates is he's in there. Bill Gates is worth. It's the other way around. So Arnault is worth 94.7. He's the richest European. Bill Gates is worth 105. Jeff Bezos is 107. These are the richest people in the world. These are the top ones. And so out of those guys, so these are the, there's Michael Dell's 25. Mackenzie Bezos, she did well. Sheldon Adelson, Phil Knight, American business magnate and philanthropist. Jack Ma, of course, head of Alibaba. Ma Huateng. Ma Huateng is a big tech investor. He's the guy behind Tencent. David Thompson. No, he's Canadian. I almost did British. He's Canadian, eh? He's like worth like $37 billion. Charles Koch, is he the dead one? Which one? David Koch had ballet slippers made from a piece of coal. Yeah, California wildfire is still burning in Sonoma County, 77. Putin is rumored to have $200 billion, but it's all under the table. That's the thing. I think these are all legit billionaires. Michael Bloomberg has $49.4 billion. Steve Ballmer from the NBA owns the Clippers, which is amazing. He's former CEO of Microsoft. He's $51 billion. Mukesh Ambani, he's an Indian business magnate. I want to be a magnate. That sounds fun. You can't eat with silverware, though. You have to use chopsticks or you'll stab yourself. S. Robson Walton is the son of Sam Walton, of course. He's worth $52.6. Alice Walton, there's a bunch of Waltons in here. Jim Walton, they're three of the Walmart family. They're three of the richest. Sergey Brin, he was the co-founder of Google. He's worth $54.2 billion. Francois Bettencourt-Myers, the reigning L'Oreal heiress, who took over when Lillian Bettencourt died in 2017. She runs the holding. They own 33% of L'Oreal. That's a lot of makeup. Larry Page, the other co-founder of Google. Carlos Slim is 8th. Then we get into the top 10 of these guys. So, yeah. Spread out a bit. Hal a magnate? Right, yeah. Hal for magnate. Like, screw this going for then it was like Act said earlier, like if I win Powerball, I'm going to buy a radio station. That's exactly it. At this point, I need to become a magnate so I can fund liberal radio by myself. That'll be the goal. It's it is a little bit of the plan. I got to be honest. Hal, what would you do with $56 million? I would be scared out of my mind to have that much money. Million or billion? Because these guys have 56. Because $56 million? I have a plan for that money. Man, do I have a plan for that money. Yeah. No. I'd fund 4 $5 million films of my own. I would, and sort of like gambling, count on the fact that they would at least double their money. I would give 10 to charity right away, and then the other 27, I would invest. I would mix investments in different business areas that I'm interested in. Some of which I would, be open and loud about, and others I would keep quiet about. Not because they're bad, but because I don't know if my investment as a person in those things would be detrimental to them. So, $5 million budget, so a Cameron Catering. Simmer down. You can do a lot with that. What club does Charity work at? She's at Sam's Hofbrau. I don't know. That name stuck out to me once, and I thought it was funny. 56B, we got problems. 56M, no problem. I don't know. I think it's the same thing. I think you got problems no matter how much money you have. And, yeah. Hal, my husband said, if you're going to fund films, can he get an audition? Well, absolutely. Everybody in the chat room gets $100K right away. But only if you consistently gave thumbs up and were a patron. Does that work? All right. Do I keep in touch with the cast from Queers Folk? Yes, I do. Brad. Yep. 3D building house tech investment a given? Yeah, no kidding. You better reserve some of those film funds for distribution. Well, in theory, Carl, the films would be good enough to earn their own. It's my Andrew Yang plan, Rocky Mountain Mike. In theory, the movies would be good enough to get distribution on merit. That's right. I'm the Andrew Yang of YouTube. My own chat room version of the UBI. It's the UCI, the Universal Chat Income. Yeah, so that, I mean, believe me, I could use it. British used to say 56 million, for instance. 66,000 million, for instance. Oh, yes. God bless you, how the taxes on my part of the ranch came yesterday. Well, yeah. I totally would do. I mean, yeah. Okay, Al. And no thumbs down. Proud of you, NSL. Thanks, Sam of Lamb Lamb. I'll be Batman. That's right. Why do people think billionaires are some kind of gods? Yang wanted to give you people $1,000 money, take away your SSI so you're broken old age. Yang's not a billionaire. I don't understand the tie there, Pamela. Thanks, Patricia. It's a good show today. It's fun. It was nice having some guests on. It was good to have Driftglass and Blue Gal on. So, and we will continue. 1 million bazillion dollars. So yeah. So that anyways, I beg your pardon. Trying not to cough up a lung in this, but Hal's Pals, Hal's Angels is what we call it. Yeah. We need vests. How can you elaborate on that Stormy pic you posted last week? I can in a couple of weeks. I can't talk about much more. It's for a little project, little thing, little something. Pretty funny. Oh, I lost. I can't. If I open another piece of software, it dips down. Damn it, jerk. Bluegrass was awesome. Oh, did I say bluegrass? I've got it on my mind. I've been rehabbing my voice, so I've got Dark as a Dungeon stuck in my head. The Newgrass Revivals version of that. Come and listen, ye fellows. I can't do it without being loud. So young and so fine. I got my headphones. So that's you're a lot better than when I get a cough. Hal, I cough constantly. I've been healing it. It's still naggy there, but it's largely because I keep coming back to LA and the fires are still going. No, Hal, I am just blitzed. I see. I have no problem with rich people because they're rich. I have a problem with people like Bloomberg not paying their fair share of taxes. That's why he's running, because of fear of Warren taxing him. Well, I don't know that. I think his fear is that, that her belief that the billionaire tax, the wealth tax, is going to be enough to fund Medicare for all in its entirety. And she's calling it like a 2-cent tax, like 2 cents from every dollar that they have, whatever. That's not actually materially what the number is. So that's what, I mean, they're going to push back against that. Yeah. That sounded like a real larynx killer. It's not bad, actually. It actually cleans me up. But I have to do it. Thanks, Patricia. Thanks so much. Stickers from Patricia. Thank you. Yes. So, another piece of software is no way to refer to a woman. Well, I've been called a piece of hardware so often in my life that I just feel like it's fair, Michael. Yeah. So, yes. Nice one, Patricia. Yeah, and when I'm doing a ton of talking, I always get nervous about, how my voice is. How Trump is going to the Alabama game, do you think he'll give boot? No, I don't. Not at the Alabama game. I think they'll protect him a little bit better. And it's a friendlier crowd, obviously. So, yeah. I would have thought people would call you a piece of firmware, Hal. Well, in places, sure. There's definitely turgidity works its way into the conversation. It just does. I was against Warren posting any numbers just because you can't pin down every contingency. Well, the problem that she gets into with it, and here's the thing, I think there's a version of Medicare for All that works, and I think ultimately what's going to happen is that there's going to be the reality of how it works is an ever-widening body of who can get in it. And like I said, I think the goal should be you can set up Medicare for All, awesome, great, but I think it would also have value to have that states can operate their own individual single payer system, and you can buy into them if you don't like the federal system. They're also nonprofit. They're also, so they don't have to, the benefit, any money that they make over what their cost is goes into the state's coffers to benefit the state, either doing, for infrastructure, schools, whatever, any of that stuff. So thank you, Steve, for becoming a patron. I appreciate that. And Jen Becky, we got those are the two that joined us. Thanks a lot, Steve. And thank you, Jen Becky. That's super sweet. It's great. So I don't have a problem. I'm glad she put forward numbers. The issue of it projects savings as part of how much of its cost, and that's how the Republicans always talk about their tax cuts. And effectively, this is just in many ways, think of it as sort of like a guided tax cut. Taking the costs you put into your insurance every year, give it to the government, and you'll get more for it. And over time, in theory, that cost will go down. And thank you, Steve G. I appreciate it. Good to see you. And I thank you for supporting that. That's awesome. So let's see. I have to download this sucker. Is that why would somebody send this? Is crazy. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I've got a long flight ahead of me. It's gonna be super fun. My flight's at 2:40, so I'm okay. I had to check because Richard, thank you so much. I try. And is that Mark Twain in your? That's your picture, or just some cool, or is it John Bolton in a wig? Is it a cartoon version of Sam Elliott's character in The Big Lebowski? I need to know. Waiting on my husband to send me a selfie of him and Trump balloon at the game. There's a huge number of people at the game who will be booing, my husband included, hoping boos will be louder than cheers. That's entirely possible. Yeah. So where is this thing? Oh, yeah, there it is. Even hot. I'm flying to Florida. So I've got, and you guys get to sit. I realized I don't know that I'm checked in for this flight. Thank you, Rocky Mountain Mike. The Hal Sparks Cruise Disease Prevention Plan. I'm going to use that just to buy airborne, or did they have seaborne? Something like that. Thank you, Sierran. If the boom at wrestling, maybe they'll boo him anywhere now. It's entirely possible. I'm getting to the point where I think he'd get booked at he'd get booed at a NASCAR rally at this rate. There it is. How will you be coming to Georgia anytime soon? I don't have anything booked there right now, but it's definitely we haven't done Atlanta in a while, and it'll definitely work its way in. I just don't know what my winter dates are yet. So there. Yes, I will avoid the Norwalk virus. I'm not going to even drive through Norwalk. I mean, it's not bad. I have to go down there to vote, actually. Is this a working cruise, Hal? It's a working cruise. I don't get vacations, Carl. That's hilarious. Ah, nice. By the way, thank you, Liberty. So can I just say, I had a really cool experience this week. On a personal note, I had like a late lunch with, and some of you may have seen kind of like what was effectively the back and forth on this on Twitter where it started or whatever. But there's a guy named Todd Kearns who plays bass in Slash's band and sings, and he's Canadian. And when I first moved up to Canada for Queer as Folk, I literally was in a position where I knew no one. I barely knew anyone in the cast at that point. I knew what was more often the case was other people, when they go and hang out socially, they drink and do other things, and I didn't do that. So I was like, I'm going to need to find my own social life when I get up there. And I was amazed to discover Much Music when I got up there, because Much Music is their MTV, right? And I turned on the television, and it was wonderful to discover Canadian rock. And I know people love to crap on Nickelback and whatnot, but being up there in Canada as they were breaking as a local band that was making it in the States, which is always a big deal for one of those bands, like when Rush made it, or a couple other bands have over time done it, or Bryan Adams made it. People are always stunned up there that one of their own makes it, and they're very protective of their musicians and their music, and like Canada has this like Canadian art rule where you go up there and if you went to a CD store, all the Canadian stuff is in the front and all the other ones are in the back. Thank you, Rocky Mountain Mike. I said Nickelback and he left, didn't he? Right? Is that what happened? Anyways, so you have Sam, absolutely. So it was nice as a rock fan to turn on and see music that wasn't kind of like this depressive 90s style that had kind of gotten stuck in, or this kind of bro fest of Limp Bizkit style stuff that was really popular. There were just guys playing guitar, and women. Biff Naked was, is Canadian and is terrific, and she works up there and was doing a lot of had a lot of new music at the time. And so to turn on the thing and see people playing in bands, live music, and they were very proud of it. And then when you go see a gig, so we were shooting at a place called Government, which is a club in Toronto, and that's where we were going to be shooting the big club scenes for Queer as Folk, and we were shooting them later in the week. And they said, yeah, we're shooting all of the club stuff in this episode at a place called Government. So I just looked it up just to find it out, and it was most of the time a rock club that had pretty big bands. So I went down, having nothing else to do, went down and saw, I think it was Nickelback, Default, and one other band. And then the very next night, I saw Danko Jones perform after having seen their CD, his CDs, their CDs. It's a band and a guy at the Canadian. I forget what the Much Music store was. It was right across from the Much Music studios. And for Hal's Wi-Fi on the Love Boat to stream hearings, thank you, Brad. That's going to be necessary. Apparently, it's $25 a day for internet, and and I don't even know how good it'll be, but fingers crossed, and I thank you. And there's these little card panels in the music things in the slots near the CDs that describe the band in case you were traveling and you were, in Canada for a short time and you didn't know these local bands and you wanted to buy some stuff and take it home with you. And they were very, supportive, like I said. And the one for Danko Jones said, if Kiss and AC/DC had a baby while sniffing glue, it would be Danko Jones. And I bought every CD on the spot. He had 6 albums already. And he puts one out almost every year. The dude is incredible as far as just output. It's great and super fun. And so I went and I just started getting into live local music scene, and I discovered this. There was a single playing from a band called Static and Stereo called Before My Time. And I'm a big one of the ways that I have and maintain such unshakable and powerful confidence in my life is that I'm very picky about what thoughts and lyrics especially I allow to sit in my brain pan. And so I don't just let any old lyric float through my head unexplored. So if there's a song out there that supports my ego and makes me feel good about myself and reinforces my energy in pushing back against the tide of life that often seems against you, and as we deal with everything life serves up to us, I'm very specific about that stuff. I'm very careful about that. So I've been a Kiss fan my whole life, and this song, I Won't Go Before My Time, was the main lyric. I feel so alive. I won't go before my time. I'm brand spanking, like I'm brand spanking new. And it was just so, it felt great because I was in this new situation, a little bit on my heels, not knowing where I was. And then the song comes on and I'm like, this is great. Makes me feel great. I love the sound of it. The dude's a killer singer. So good. And the music is great. They're obviously Kiss fans. I love them. This is awesome. Bought it. And then I find out this guy had been in a band called Age of Electric. They were it was like kind of his 90s band. They're terrific. Sarah Bolander, who has been a fan for a long time and a friend, many of you know her from back in the Ustream days. It's just, yeah. I went and got that. I got these side projects. Then he shows up in Slash's band. I'm like, this dude is awesome. And then he's playing on the Kiss cruise with Bruce Kulick, singing all the Paul parts from the 80s, really, when Paul was at his vocal zenith. And I'm like, this dude is amazing. So having introduced myself to him on social media through friends and knowing Danko and some other Canadian artists that I've developed friendships with over time, he and I had a late lunch and hangout last week, and it was amazing. It was really sweet. I know this is probably a boring story for you guys, but it's true. It was just a nice, you don't get to bond with new people, especially let's see. Checking with what you guys are saying too. Where we go? Backing up 1 second. On the radio. Hal, do you know a group called Who? They're from Mongolia. I don't. I like. There's a Chinese band. Let's see. I forget. I don't know what their English name is. Let's see. Yeah, Tomahawk. They're a Chinese band called Tomahawk. I often get them mixed up with Mike Patton's band Tomahawk. When you try to buy either one, I was actually looking for the Mike Patton Tomahawk record when I found this Tomahawk album where they're singing in Chinese, and I was like, "This is awesome." By the Trump lawyers appealing lower courts ruling to overturn taxes to SCOTUS. Nothing will be seen till SCOTUS rules, hoping they'll do the obvious right thing, but who knows? Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. I think these guys are starting to broom out. I knew you'd appreciate it. Can't stop lying. Thank you. Yeah. Let's see. Not boring at all, House Parks. I know how you feel. This is exactly how I felt. I found QF Cast and then discovered you were really. Oh, thanks, Liberty. How do you ever listen to Slipknot? I do. I love AC/DC and Kiss. Haven't listened to Kiss in a while, but wait, where was it? I lost that. It jumped back on me. No one can ever outdo Metallica, though. Just saying, Metallica is extraordinary, and I love Hardwired, the new record. I listen to it as much as I listen to Ride the Lightning, and that's saying a lot. I like Mongolian Beef or anything like that. No, they're more of Mongolian Beef is a polka band, totally different. And it's crazy to me, do Trump supporters really not at least wonder why Trump is doing such extreme lengths to hide his taxes? Crazy. Clearly, it's obvious he's hiding something. Yeah, I mean, I think part of what it is, and I genuinely believe this, is that the Republicans have a you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs attitude towards most things, especially business and grift around that stuff, right? Because there is there's almost certain industries where you're like, well, you got to get in bed with some gnarly people just to make it, right? In certain markets. You can't have a building without the mob doing your laundry if you have a hotel, and that kind of stuff. Like that, you have to do that. There's a difference between that circumstance where people unfortunately find themselves in an untoward situation like that versus people who actively seek it out to benefit themselves. And that's the difference with Trump specifically. No wonder you like Hardwired, how seeing is how you are when you agree against. Right, that I'm definitely hardwired. Yeah. But aren't Trump's taxes still being audited after 10 years? I'm going, yeah. They're wonderful in concert. I've met two of them. Yeah, I've met the guys. They're awesome. I'm a fan. Yeah. I'm just like Mongolian Beef is still in there. Yeah, Metallica is a fantastic concert. Like even, I would say it's interesting. There are bands in that era, like in that genre, like Slayer, or even on the softer side of that angle, Black Label Society, for example. That if you're not on board, it might be abrasive sonically if you're not used to that kind of music. If you go to a Metallica concert and you're not even a Metallica fan, sonically there's so much depth and quality to it in a lot of ways that it's more like seeing a classical like an orchestra as far as what the volume and the dynamics are. It's not punchy, offensive in that way. It's just impressive. Trump's taxes may just be the tail of the snake. Yeah, well, it may be water under the bridge by the time we get to what the damage is really done, and eventually, what will happen is it'll result more in his inability to get a business license. So. Thanks, Amy. What do you think of Saga? I like some of their stuff. Like I'm gonna blitz on name titles right now, but they're one of those bands where they're like, there it is. Hold on. Quit. And I'm assuming you mean the band, not the weird alt comic book. Yeah. I think On the Loose is the big hit, right, from them. I don't know that I've ever seen them live, but I wouldn't. But they're definitely of quality. That's for damn sure. Some of the guys have been in the Rock Vault thing. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize they were Canadian though. Is that your point? Yeah. I mean, I guess they're one of those bands that were around so long, I assumed they were American. You know what I mean? I want to see vetting on presidential candidates. Trump's level of dirty should never ever run. So easy to co-opt. Press production details while the press can be filthy. Yeah, I agree. Can't Stop Lying that's an excellent point. The idea that what people have to go through to get secure, Secret Service protection, the amount of just background and getting lie detector tests and polygraphs, taking polygraphs. They interview their family and friends, that all this stuff, and yet if you run and win, you win. I don't know. Half of Hollywood is Canadian now. If only. If I ever get remarried, Hal, I'd like for you to sing at my wedding. I think that can be arranged. I'd be glad to. We're an American band from Canada. We're an American band. Right. Like the latest full vetting of the presidential candidate, Thug 45 would never pass a background check. Then I want every candidate to take a civil service exam. I agree. I mean, we're the irony that this is the party of you need an ID to vote, and they the modern Republicans are of course the original Southern Dixiecrats, and those guys to the person. Do I like Queen? Of course I love Queen. I love Queen. It's not even a question. Do I like Queen? What kind of craziness, madness, what hootenanny nonsense? We're a North American band. Careful, it's too bad Rocky Mountain Mike left. We'll give him too many ideas. I just loved the fact when I was listening, and by the way, guys, go out and check out Static and Stereo is kind of harder to find, but check out Todd Kearns. Look him up. Look up the Age of Electric stuff. If you like, I don't know, it's hard to even describe. He's just got a great voice. So if you like rock, you'll like it. It's just really, there's a lot of variety in his capability and what he does and his style of writing and all that stuff. So I just recommend it across the board. I can't and Danko Jones too. You guys know what a big fan of Danko Jones I am. So I'm trying to push. I hate touch screens on some stuff because it just does not do it to it, man. Where'd that go? Stop that. Oh. I gotta set something up. 1 second. There you go. Good. Do you like Crowded House? Sure, they're adorable. It's not quite a. Thanks, Can't Stop Lying, for putting those in there. Just such. Tell him I sent you. You can follow. He's Todd Dammit Kearns on Twitter, and Danko Jones is just Danko Jones on Twitter. Yeah. Hi Finley. How about that? Saw you in Drag on Queer as Folk and had to be convinced it was you. Hal, you made a beautiful... Oh, thanks. Yeah, I do okay. I'm a little puffy because I'm sleepy today, but I'm all right. Last 2 days, man, like with all the reading I've had to do and getting ready to do all this other stuff, holy smokes. Do I believe in Santa Claus? I have an 8-year-old. What do you think? Static and Stereo isn't a new... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not a new band, Jude. They were just coming out as I moved to Canada to do Queer as Folk. Cool. Well, I have an 8-year-old, and so do I. Famous and Afraid, real or real? All the details are real. Your conclusions you can draw on your own, but all that stuff actually happened. Everything I said on there was true. Whether or not you believe in UFOs or think they're all linked, or whether that's the part that's up for everybody's belief or whatever. Like I said, if I was an alien, I would keep an eye on us. The wonky donk reading alone. Well, that's exactly it. Can't Stop Lying. Because this one, it's funny because I originally thought, oh, well, I'm going to be the one who's all over the place. And certainly I am. But Jackie will keep us locked into the details, the specific, nuts and bolts of the laws and that kind of stuff. Because that's her speciality. But the news is so crazy that she can get as lost in, kind of kvetching about it as well. And so I find myself being the one that's trying to bring us back to, keep us on point, which is kind of fun. It makes it a good team thing. Finley, do I believe in aliens? I believe there has to be life outside this planet. Statistically, mathematically, it's an impossibility. We're the only ones here. There you go. Wonder if the Kurds are still being slaughtered over there? Yeah. How often do you check your mail at Patreon? I check the messages fairly often. If you send something and I didn't see it, I apologize. I will check it out and respond to you there. I know it would be in good hands if you watched over. Well, I feel like I'd be that's the thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. Yes. Become a patron, support the show, because the only way we're going to grow this and convince everybody this is a valuable business model and something we're able to turn into something useful is by direct hitting it head on. And everybody else kind of dances around it. And I've decided to just kind of throw myself on the grenade, make myself a test case, and use this to make us, better, make the show better. So. Evernum. Yeah, the V storyline comes from the David Icke books, the original kind of theory behind that. Sure would be awful waste of space if no aliens. Yeah. Now you need to have twin girls, Hal. Oh boy. I would love to have a daughter. I have a son, and every time I bring up more kids, everybody in my family goes, oh. Hal, Christ Mass for Patreons, just wondering details. Oh, Christmas for patrons. We're doing that Christmas special at Flappers that will be streamed directly for you guys too. But yes, Let's see. Have you ever seen Grace and Frankie? I have. Aw, thanks, Brian. Thank you. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Bowing Pear. That's awesome. V miniseries was innovative at the time. Lizard People. Yeah, I remember the story I tell in that Famously Afraid, and check that out, you guys, and see if you like it. I don't know how it turned out. I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it after I hear people tell me if it's okay. But so my 14-year-old daughter just came in the room and saw me watching you and said, "Wait, isn't he an actor? He was on one of my shows, Lab Rats." Yeah, that's me. Hi, Steve. And your dad's a patron of my radio show, so we're all in a big family. Hi. So let's see. I guess summer ain't up for kid 2. No, we both are. I just mean my mom and everybody else. You know, they're like, one's a lot. It's so funny. Finley, happy birthday. You would be 70 when they graduated high school? Yeah, but a good 70. Like a sexy 70. I mean, I'm 50 now. Right on. You know what I mean? I'm all right. And look at Mick Jagger. I'm just saying. Age is not what it used to be at all. So, I've got to start winding this down so I can gather my stuff and get to the airport. And you guys are thanks, Siren. I'm gonna go see the new Terminator movie tonight. Friend said it was really good despite the reviews. Well, I will take that on your word, BK. I don't know if there are movies on the boat or not. I wouldn't doubt that there's a theater, so I'll probably be in it if there is. Plus, Hal uses Palmolive. Yes, I soak my face in it. Dishwashing detergent. Yeah, you're soaking in it.
Port.
Yeah, so I gotta race, guys, because I gotta pack all this stuff up and take it with me. So you guys are wonderful. I will check in and do an internet test at some point when I'm on the boat in the next couple of days. You are fantastic. I adore you guys. You are fantastic and wonderful and great and fantastic and super and great and awesome. And I will see you guys next Saturday by hook or by crook. Have an amazing time watching the impeachment hearings. I'm excited about it. I can't tell you. Thank you guys who became patrons today, and everybody who's been with us for a while now. Help spread the word, like and thumbs up the show. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Hal Sparks out. Bye.